Hello, everybody. Of course, now I choose to clear my throat. Good to see you, everybody. It's Tuesday night, or day, or morning, or Wednesday morning, depending on where you're at. So we're back with another horror sci-fi stream, and tonight we're going to be covering in my opinion, the extremely um, fantastic cult classic, the original Night of the Living Dead from 1968, directed by George Romero. And any horror fan out there knows the influence this had on the horror genre and zombies to be specific. In my sorry, in my opinion, the man never really achieved the greatness and the riches and the money that he truly deserved, which we're going to cover tonight. Some of the reasons why, but he was a very underrated director, a master at his craft. And I will always salute and hail him. This is one of my top favorite horror movies. When I put this on the panel for voting, I was kind of hoping that it would win, and I lucked out. So I appreciate for all of you that voted in my community tab. And my voice, and of course, now it decides to go out. I apologize.
You want me to say hi to everybody while you get your throat cleared
Yes.
up?
Thank you. Hello, everybody. I'll take a drink of something here real quick.
Alrighty. And Suzanne was here almost an hour ago. Says, "Hello, Pop. Hope this day finds you well."
Yes, I'm doing good, Suzanne. So good to see you. Glad you could be here.
And Pop said, "You too, Suzanne." And Sean says, "Hello, all. I shall be lurking tonight as usual." Well,
Good
lurk
to see
away.
you, Sean. Good to see you.
Yeah. And Mikey says, "They're coming for you, Barbara."
Actually, they're
I'm already
coming to
missing
get
your
you, Barbara.
avatar there, Gorilla.
Yeah. That guy was an ass. Sean says, "Hey,
Oh, he was
Mikey."
like my favorite character, man.
Think about it,
I knew he is.
He's the first. When you guys think about it, it's pretty historical because he's the first screen zombie flesh eater that we see in cinema. So it's actually an historic event, and I thought he did a great job. But anyway, go ahead.
Mikey says, "Hey, Sean." Or, "Hey, Mikey." Sean says, "Hey, Mikey." Then Mikey says, "Hi, Sean. This is true cult classic zombie film."
Absolutely.
And Gap says, "Hey, Pops. Hey, Barbara. Hey, Barbara. I'm coming to get you. Hey, Gap. You got to come and join us. So we'll have to schedule a night for Cringe Stock there for you to join us for Frank and Hooker since he suggested it." There,
It's a
Gap
great
says,
movie.
"Hey, Suzanne,
That's
Sean,
right.
and Mikey." Mikey says, "Hi, Gap."
Hello,
And
Gap.
Pop
Good
says,
to
"Hello
see you.
everyone." Suzanne says, "Gap, hello." And hello to you too, Suzanne. She says, "Gorilla, hello." Dear. And I'm not gonna say hi to AI,
Hello,
but
Suzanne
I
X-Team.
already got one AI telling me I need some therapy and started recommending therapists to me. And Suzanne says, "That says hello." And
Hello,
Suzanne says,
Suzanne.
"Yeah, hello." Gap says,
Hey.
"Hey," and I'm the girls, and hey, Gap. I say, "Hey, Gap." It says,
Hey, Gap.
hey, Gap says, "Oh yeah, girls, Frankenstein Hooker." Well, yeah, we'll have to schedule a night for that. You'll have to join us on the panel
Yeah,
for that
Frank
one.
Hooker.
Comedy horror. Just so you guys know ahead of time if you have not seen it, and I do recommend it. Anything by Frank Henenlotter.
Yeah.
All right, we have a visitor tonight. Hey, Mr.
It was
CCTV,
actually
how you doing?
kind of
Oh,
fun to
hi.
get with.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. CCTV. I haven't talked to you in about a month
Hello,
of Sundays.
Mr. Cody.
Month of Sunday sounds about right. I haven't been online very much lately.
No, I've been a busy man lately.
Yeah, Cody. Yeah, Cody, I haven't seen you in over 2 months, actually. I remember one of the things we did with Teague, so yeah, I hadn't seen you in a while.
Are we caught up on the chat?
Oh, well, we got a few more here. Gap says,
Gotcha.
well, oops, Franken. Yep. And Gap says, "Hey, Mr. CCTV." And that says, "Hello, Cody." So, Mr. CCTV, you're now Cody.
I am not Cody, but it is nice
Who's
to
Cody?
be recognized by Gap After Dark. That's It's a rare occurrence for someone who has only a few
Oh.
a few hundred subscribers. So
No, just
pretty
dropped
happy
off.
about that.
Well, Nemesis, please come back as soon as you can. He may be having a network connection again. So he may be popping in and out tonight, guys, just to let you know.
I'm actually surprised we're not having a network connection problem right now. I'll drop off if it does become a problem, but yeah.
No, since I'm on the Ethernet, it shouldn't affect you at all. That's the whole point of
I'm
why I hooked
also
it up.
on the Ethernet. That's why I said if it gets bogged down, I'll drop off. We're on the same freaking.
It doesn't matter if
server.
it's Ethernet, right? But no, it doesn't matter if we're both on Ethernet. There should be no issue. It's only when we're having to compete for wireless signals is when we have problems.
It's weird. We can have a conversation anytime we want to, but we talk mostly on the internet.
Well, that's not completely true. But I do enjoy your company, sir. Oops. And there we go, bouncing in Nemesis Eden in and out again. Sorry about that, Nemesis. Glad you.
Someone has to be the designated adder to the stream.
I'll let you be the designated adder, I guess, if that's a word, adder.
And there you go. You rinse
Well, it is
yourself.
now. Hey, words aren't words until someone makes them up.
Captain, what is your
Hello
Captain
there.
Infinity? How are you doing today?
Captain Affinity.
I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm doing fantastic. Now, I'm curious, is this Wednesday morning for you, or what exactly time is it?
Apparently, it's Wednesday afternoon, but it's also next year because it's winter. So apparently, yeah,
You silly Australians.
it's New Zealand, but close enough. I'm from Poland. Dzień dobry.
Well, Australia is a little island off the coast of New Zealand, right?
I mean, if I called you Costa Rican, that'd be the same thing.
Exactly.
You Costa Ricans over there.
I don't care. I don't care what you call me. Just don't call me late for dinner.
Nice.
All right, so tonight we're going to be covering, as we mentioned, the cult classic Night of the Living Dead from
Nah,
1968.
he's just a Kiwi.
And
I thought that was just the name of the panel.
No, I've heard of that movie.
this movie was, I think most of us have. I was a big fan. When I was a little kid, I remember begging my dad. I remember he took us to the drive-in, and I was 4. Yeah, because it was new. I was 4 years old, and I wanted to see this. We went to the drive-in on one on the marquee. There was, I think it was Lady and the Tramp, and there was this, and I wanted to see this, and unfortunately I got outvoted, and that I never got over that. I thought it was a very tragic childhood just for that reason. But I did eventually get to see it at a young age on television when I was visiting a relative in Las Vegas. I think I was about 6 or 7 when I finally saw it. And it's extremely groundbreaking. I know these days it might seem a little, I could pull up a lot of old tropes because we've seen so many zombie movies that the genre has been saturated pretty much. But just keep in mind while we cover this is the movie that started it all.
And hey, OG, and hey, Scurvy.
And thank
Good
you for
to see
saying
you there.
hello to me, Suzanne Eckstein. Eckstein, I said it correctly. The I after the E means
No,
ein.
Eckstein.
It's not Eckstein, it's Eckstein.
She corrected me.
Correctly.
No, she did tell me it was Steen. That's what Suzanne said. Nope, she didn't say Steen. She corrected me. Yeah.
It's not my fault she forgot her German roots.
Steen,
All right.
see? She corrected you.
So while Pop's getting set up, I'll read the chat here real quick. And Gab says, damn, can't spell.
Yeah,
And
go
Suzanne
for it.
says, hello, Mr. CCTV. And Suzanne says, Captain Affinity, hello.
Suzanne.
Steven.
Oiler Greg says, hello, everyone. I'm just lurking tonight. Well, lurk
Hey,
away.
Greg. Good to see you, sir.
We'll lurk back.
Hey,
And
Oiler.
Scurvy says, good evening. And Suzanne
Hello,
says,
Lemon.
Greg. And Gap says, hey, Oiler. Hey, Scurvy.
11.
And Suzanne says, Scurvy, hiya. Greg says, I think it's just you, I, and Scurvy in the chat. I think the rest are on the panel, LOL. And Suzanne says,
That's not actually
She
that
said-
surprising.
she says,
That's
Speedy.
great.
And embrace the Hebrew side of my friend. Yeah, embrace her Hebrew side there.
That means it's Albert Einstein.
Oh, in
So,
that case, it's
wait, no,
Stein.
whoa,
Got
yeah,
it. Okay.
yeah, Suzanne, we covered this. It could be Eckstein because otherwise it's Albert Einstein, isn't it? Same thing.
Hey, did we fight a
was just so
war
Albert
over
wasn't
over these
embracing his Hebrew
pronunciations?
side.
No, Captain Infinity and I have gone back and forth on
I've never met this man in my
pronunciations
entire
and
life.
proper grammar and stuff like that for a long time. So forgive us both for being assholes.
I think the word is pedant.
Pedantic. I like that.
Exactly. A pedantic asshole.
All right, then here's Euler Greg's channel for spoiler-free reviews.
Yeah, that's
I
a good.
recommend it. Definitely check it out, everybody.
Yeah, Gap says, do zombies use deodorant? Oh, hell no. Their stink is part of their charm.
Well, it's going to take some really good deodorant to cover up that rotting flesh, I guess.
And Suzanne says, Eckstein, you heathens. I swear there's a whole war how these are pronounced.
Like Albert.
That's
Albert
it. Fine.
Einstein,
I'm going to say Steen from now on.
Eckstein equals MC squared.
I swear there's a whole war fought over how to pronounce the last names, and the Germans lost.
Albert Einstein. See,
all I know is that
that's correct.
my wife,
Albert Einstein was correct.
Now, I'm just saying, my wife is Suzanne also. And when she met Miss Eckstein on one of my chats, I pronounced it exactly correct, and Suzanne was actually in shock because she didn't think I could pronounce that. And I was like, well,
which
I
bit,
am
Suzanne
German,
or Eckstein?
So...
No, I'm confused. What your wife Suzanne?
Eckstein part, obviously Captain Kiwi.
Well, you just
Obviously,
said my
Kiwi.
wife Suzanne. Therefore, I knew how to pronounce Eckstein correctly. That doesn't make any sense whatsoever. How does your wife
Well,
be called Suzanne?
I knew how to pronounce. Well, my wife is Suzanne. I have my wife.
So
is
what's
Suzanne.
that? What's that got?
Suzanne
What bearing does that have on? That's hence the confusion. So you're banging on about Eckstein. Now you're banging on about Suzanne.
Thought you were talking. Yeah, I thought
you're
you were
not
talking
really.
about Eckstein.
So you need to prune the irrelevant
instead of
information.
Suzanne.
Right.
We could
like
probably
a
talk about some
Sherlock Holmes
zombies or
novel.
something like that too. You know, on the zombie film.
Talk about zombies.
Yeah, we
You
will.
need to drop the irrelevant information because you're not really helping the story.
Hey guys, getting off the the topic. So if we could all get back on the the thing and stop all these distract. Oh look, ice cream.
I haven't got to use that in a long time.
Thank you, Gorilla.
Right on.
My wife is also called Scotty, so now I understand how R37 works.
I didn't really get a chance to officially, which I'm going to do now before we get started, which I will do quickly, is say hello to everybody in the chat. I want to welcome everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm glad you took the time out of your day to join us. I think we're going to have a great time tonight. And especially, most of all, thank you to everybody who joined on the panel. I appreciate all input and all opinions. And if you don't like the movie, I don't care. We're here for everybody to share their honest thoughts, and it's not an echo chamber. So I hope everybody enjoys themselves and have a good time. Excuse me. I'll try to keep my voice the best I can as long as possible.
And welcome, Trustee Ape.
Hello, Trustee Ape. Wow, I haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you.
They're coming for you, Barbara. They're coming for you, Barbara.
That's right.
Yeah, Kevin's awesome.
And once again, I can't play the movie because even though, which we'll cover tonight, that the movie is actually in the public domain, I can't take chances because I never know with YouTube. It's kind of hard to tell. So we'll be doing slides, so we'll be skipping through every few seconds or so. We may not be able to catch all the dialogue. We will have subtitles up, but I highly recommend, if you have not, to see this movie on your own. It's like I said, it's a big influence on the horror genre, especially zombies. And if you like zombie movies, if you haven't seen it, then what are you waiting for?
Yeah. I found this movie on YouTube, so you should be fine if you do just have to play clips.
It's in the public domain. You're no worries about it.
I got taken down for the pirate movie once, so better safe than sorry if you don't want to be, hit with that black screen for 30 seconds.
Yeah, exactly. Because like I've mentioned in previous streams, I played public domain music on my stream, and I got a warning. Ghost Stuff Holds the Planets, which is clearly in the public domain. It's over 100 years old, and I still got a warning, so you never know. But it's better than having to get it like a Mr. CCTV said. It's better than getting a black box or them making me cut out part of the stream or a big chunk of it. So, all right.
All the worry though is public domain.
Yes, and I will explain that really quick.
Smoking cigarettes, but cigarettes are legal. Well, I'm gonna have to confiscate the cigarettes anyway, but they are legal, officer. Yeah, they're legal, but here's a ticket, and I'm going to take your tobacco that's legal.
Go ahead and try and confiscate my cigarettes and see what happens.
Well, they're metaphorical cigarettes at this point, but the point is the cigarettes are legal. Why are they taking the cigarette?
Yes, this movie, I wanted to mention the reason why, because if anybody's not in the know, it came out in 1968, but George Romero was a novice at the time, and he was mostly known for documentary and industrial films. And when he put this together, it was kind of at the last minute when they were rushing and putting the credits on it, and they forgot to put the copyright mark on the film, which means that when it went to the theaters, it was immediately in the public domain, and he got basically very little money from it. Even though this is one of the most successful independent movies of all time, because it was like, which I will cover tonight, the budget was really low, but it made in the several millions of dollars. It was very groundbreaking. But unfortunately,
which is funny because go ahead, Bob.
No, I was just going to say, but it's all because they forgot to put a copyright mark on it. Otherwise, the man would have been much, much richer. It's too bad.
Dude. Well, I was just going to say the original title of the movie was actually going to be called Night of Anubis, which is more mummy related, but only George Romero seemed to understand that Anubis was the god of the dead and had anything to do with zombies and yada, yada, yada. So then they changed it to Night of the Flesh Eaters, but then there was a movie already out called Flesh Eaters, so they had to change it to Night of the Living Dead.
Ironic, isn't it? Considering that this is like the birth of the zombie movie.
It sure is. It's loosely based. He wasn't aware at the time, but it's loosely based, kind of similar to I Am Legend by Richard Matheson, if anybody's read that. They made a few movies that have tried to interpret it, like The Last Man on Earth with Vincent Price, and then there was The Omega Man with Charlton Heston, and then the horrible movie with Will Smith, which I don't want to mention, which was a disgrace. But I'm hoping one of these days I Am Legend will be done proper, because it's a really good short story within a book. So it's not an actual book itself, but it's a novelette, I guess you could say, within a book. So it's bigger than a short story, but it's not quite a book.
Novella?
That's it. Thank you.
All right, can I say one thing here? And I'm not holding this against the movie at all, but the one thing that annoys me with these old black and white films, sir, it seems to be only the films, not the shows, but you always get the especially if you're listening on headphones, like the sound wrong, and these high-pitched sounds just hurt your ear.
It was shot in mono. It doesn't have stereo sound, so that
I know. That's why I'm not holding it against it. But also you get this background static for some reason. It only happens with the films.
Okay, let me explain something. The reason why, when they had older movies, especially the older the movie gets, what would happen is, for example, if you had live actors performing in front of the camera, when they're talking, the voice overrides any kind of background static. So when the actors are talking, let's say you have a man and a woman conversing on camera in a old black and white movie, and the way the sound system was the sound system was in those days. First of all, it was mono, it wasn't stereo, and it didn't have the high fidelity that it does now. But second of all, what happened was when an actor or an actress was talking, it would override the soundtrack, and you could clearly hear them and very little background noise. But for example, if a man's talking and then he stops talking, and if there's a pause in between him and the woman talking, you're going to hear background noise. That's what's called white noise in the background. So in the older movies, what they actually used to do is go in and mute in between the dialogue. So if you watch an older movie, sometimes they do and sometimes they don't. So you'll hear like the man speaking. When he stops talking, then you'll hear like a little bit of a hiss. Then the woman will talk, and then you don't hear the hiss. And when she stops talking, you'll hear the hiss. So that's how it happened on the older sound systems. But sometimes, if it was on some of the higher budgeted movies, they would actually go in and mute the hiss in between the dialogue in the editing room, if that makes any sense. I don't know if that helps answer your question.
Yeah, when we got this,
I remember
when we bought this movie on DVD. No, I'm just gonna say, Pop. When we bought this movie on DVD, they did clean up a lot of the white noise and the static in between dialogue moments. You know, when they're talking at the cemetery or when they're inside the barn with the barricade.
Yes.
And what was interesting was in the early version, when I saw this the first time, was in a drive-in theater in 1971, 6 years old. You could hear some of the overlapping, what they would call a soundtrack, in between sometimes when they were talking. It was a little distracting, but otherwise, it didn't affect the film dramatically. I thought it was good. It was fine. It was fine for me.
Well, and not only that though, but I think a lot of the appeal and what makes this movie, at least in my opinion, really good is the fact that it was low budget and it's almost like watching a documentary. It's not polished like a big Hollywood production, which is one of the things that really made it successful. And by the way, this was also one of the last big successes for the drive-ins. This is when the drive-ins were starting to fade out and walk-ins were starting to be a big thing.
Yeah.
And by the way, this car here, of course, it belonged to the producers and the because we know that movies have a cast and a crew.
That's a shame.
So they have a cast of people who are in the movie, then they have a crew that are behind the scenes putting everything together. But this was so low budget, the crew was actually the cast. So other than the main two stars, which we'll be introduced to here soon, a lot of the actors you see in the movie were actually part of the crew, and actually they were the ones that helped raise funds to make the movie in the first place. And this was one of their cars.
Yeah, he filmed it in the surrounding. What I recall is he filmed it in the surrounding Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. He hired a local.
Yes, that's where he was stationed out of.
People. Right. Yeah, he hired a lot of local people to help on the crew, on the cast. So when you see a lot of the zombies that are coming, that's a lot of local citizens that lived in the surrounding communities, and it's just so cool. It made it seem more real. To me, that's why it was such a classic, because it made it real. It really did, and it was just
right. And as you can, and as you can see, it's shot in 4:3 ratio because they did not have 16:9 or panoramic cameras. So that's another thing that you'll notice if you're wondering why it's a widescreen, even though it's a 1968. That's the reason why. This is the only cameras they had. These are the same cameras they used to film industrial and instructional videos. So he took what little money he had. He raised the money around town locally, even hired the townspeople to put everything together. There's a lot of history behind this movie. It's fantastic.
That is one hardcore dude who really wanted to get his vision out there. And you know what? I respect that. That's
but it reminds me so much of... It reminds me so much later on of Sam Raimi and all the work he did to put the Evil Dead together. It's almost like the same story. You know, it was like he raised the money, he got his friends together for the cast, and a lot of the people who financed it were like dentists and doctors and stuff, right?
And well, a lot of people. I was going to say a lot of people think that they can't do it. They can't do it. They have a vision and they want to do it and they can't do it because they don't have millions of dollars to spend on stuff. Well, Romero, and I know a lot of people don't like Kevin Smith anymore, but Kevin Smith did Clerks on a shoestring budget too. So you got to give credit where credit is due. And Kevin Smith did exactly the same thing. He gathered his friends and got whatever cameras he could get his hands on and did the whole thing right there where he used to work. And it turned out to be his saving grace. It didn't work out for George Romero, but it worked out for Kevin Smith.
Well, hell, Peter's was. Well, hell, was made on $500 budget, but
What was?
Eaters.
Eaters?
Yeah, it's a very low budget horror movie that I ended up watching.
It made it big and famous and made multi-millions?
I've never even heard of it.
Neither have I. That's what I'm wondering. How did it get by me? I'm usually into that kind of stuff.
I think it made like 15,000, 20,000 or something like that.
Oh, no, I thought you were talking about something that hit mainstream. That was
gross profit or
no,
net
dude,
income?
check
I mean,
that
if the
out.
movie cost $2 million, that's a minus.
Right. If he spent $500 of his own money and got $20,000 in return, that is incredible. I'd do that in a heartbeat.
No, it's great. It's just that means, but it's most likely that most of us have not seen it or heard of it.
I'm looking it up here.
Right, like there's the good thing and bad thing about independent films, right? Like limitation breeds inspiration, right? Like,
yep.
You look at Plan 9 from Outer Space. You look at this movie. There's no dolly shot. Well, there's one. Technically, there's one part where George Romero is filming the actress, and he's in his car, and that's about as close as you get to a dolly shot. But you look at a lot of these angles where the panning shot comes down, or the shots where it's like the shots of the animal heads, where it's reminiscent of George Romero. Like it's really interesting because some people hate it. Like a lot of times Hollywood, the big budgets, they're either dolly shots or they're intentional shaky cam, which is awful. Whereas with these ones, the director's trying, the cinematographer is trying his best to get a cool shot with just his hands.
They're trying to keep the camera steady, where the cinematographers today are like, oh, shake it as much as you possibly can so we can't see what the hell's going on while we
they're making it crap on purpose. Like I say, anyone out there who can't afford a dolly, use a skateboard. I use it. I got dolly tracking shots in my my Playmobil Back to the Future. Use a skateboard. Okay.
Well, usually, in my opinion, when they use the shaky cam, it's when there's really very little action going on and it's uninteresting. So they try to liven it up by shaking the camera. And it's usually it's pretty crap. And I'm hoping it's a bad that's on its way out.
Have a better story.
Yes,
every time I see shaky cam, I go, oh, here comes the crappy dialogue.
Exactly, the dialogue got two talking heads going on, and the camera's shaking like the cameraman's an epileptic. No offense to the epileptics out there.
I was gonna make the comment there, but I think I was gonna sound too much an asshole. Like, I will not fault the camera work on the guy. I know how hard it is to film when you have Parkinson's disease.
Oh, yeah, no, that's offensive.
That might be a little, that might be a little offensive.
A little dark, but I mean, that's funny.
No offense to anybody out there.
That's why we never let Hitler hold the camera.
Oh my
God. All right,
God.
should we catch up about chat real quick before we get too far into the film?
Sounds great. Thank you, Gorilla.
Yeah,
the damn thing on a tripod.
Trusty Apes is not the lid. Is one of my favorites. And Suzanne
Not
says,
Living Dead.
hello. And Trusty Ape says, hey, Suzanne. Gap says, hello, Ape. The Trusty Ape says, hello, Gap. And let's see. Suzanne says, Captain Finity, I took my boy to meet the local police here because he is autistic, so I wanted them to know who he is and what his medical issues are. While every one of the cops just shit he is.
Shite.
Yeah, bigger than all of them. Cop asked me if he gets violent. I laughing my fucking ass off and told him no.
They shite because he's bigger than they are.
Absolutely.
And then Mr. CCTV says that it's funny. Suzanne says, Mr. CCTV, he is the most gentle, polite kid ever. He will see an old person walk into the door to the store, and he will wait for them to get there and hold the door for him. Aww.
Absolutely.
Nice.
CCTV says, yeah, I've been having that happen to me lately, and trust me, I love guys who do that. And Suzanne says, very nice. Suzanne says, pop an update for you because I know how concerned you've been. I was able to completely clear the heat bill and the vehicle insurance today. now to work on the electricity build. That's
fantastic.
Good.
That's fantastic.
Awesome.
That's great
That
to hear,
is
Suzanne. I'm so
fantastic.
happy.
Yeah, one step at a time. One step at a time.
Take care of your grandson.
I absolutely love it when I catch up on bills. I look at my bank statement and I go, fucking awesome. Finally finished paying that off.
Right, and able to get her car on the road. I'm jealous she's able to get her car on the road. I'm hoping to be there someday.
I'm working on it. Shut up.
We'll get there.
I gotta finish my truck before I start on your car.
Yep, no hurry. And besides, he got a hot rod scooter today, everybody. He told me he bought a scooter, and I was picturing like a Razor or one of those kind of things, but it looks like a quad runner.
Yeah.
So it's like beefy and nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
It's less than 36 inches wide, though. Less than 36 inches wide.
Yep, it's got a headlight, a horn, it's got turning signals, the whole 9 yards.
It's a little bit longer than the one I wanted, but hey, it's gonna get up and down in my backyard just fine.
Yep, it's got some good torque to it, and he's gonna attach a trailer to the back. It's gonna be pretty sweet.
That would be sweet.
Oiler Greg here says cheers. And welcome, Mad Scientist. Welcome.
Welcome.
Hello, Mad Scientist. Good to see you. Glad you could join us.
Nice.
It says Mad Scientist, hello. And welcome, DJ Odyssey.
Oh, who the hell invited DJ Odyssey?
Long time no see. Deej. Glad you could join us. It's good.
Deej, when you say there in that context, it's Deej, it's THEY''RE. Just to let you know, Deej.
And it seems like this is so. To tell you anything about this film, this is the only line anybody knows about this film. Is they're coming for you, Barbara. Apparently, that's
actually, I know for
you, Barbara.
Yeah, they are not belonging to them.
Right, I know several lines, but that's the one that stands out in most people's memory the most.
Talk about a pedantic asshole. There's a guy on the panel who's a pedantic
with glasses
asshole.
on.
I mean, assholes are ad hominem, isn't it?
Careful now,
what if I'm a pedantic?
Right.
It's funny though,
No
isn't it?
insults.
Because you get physically assaulted at school if you get it wrong by the teacher. Now you want to get it right, you're an asshole. You can't win in this fucking world, can you?
But let's not try to insult
that kind of school.
Yeah, I thought we were trying not to insult anyone on the panel anymore.
Yeah,
that caused a whole stir up the last time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Nice.
It doesn't work out for any of us.
Exactly.
Yeah, so
I thought we weren't going to do
courtesy and respect.
Okay. I will calm down my statements because
sounds good.
Suzanne says, Deej Odyssey, hello. Deej says, hello, Suzanne. Gap says, hello, Matt and Deej. And Deej says, hey, Gap. And Deej says, I think I've seen this movie more times than all of y'all combined. Well, Deej,
right.
I can probably guarantee you've seen this movie more than I have.
Yeah, Gorilla watched it today for the first time, everybody. So, yeah, he's a newbie.
Wow, Gorilla. Seriously? This is like
Gorilla.
On his phone.
Well, Pop.
Man.
Pop. In my defense, it's either I watched it on my phone or I not watched it at all today.
No, I'm glad you saw it. I'm glad you're aware of it because I know you're not into gore, and this is a good introduction because it's kind of compared to what comes after later on in the years. You know, this was the first movie. There was also a filmmaker back then.
Able to see it on your phone.
There was also a filmmaker back then that was known for a lot of gore named Herschel Gordon Lewis. They called him the Godfather of gore, and his movies were in color. He made movies like 10,000 Maniacs and a few others.
He did,
The Wizard of Gore.
He did a lot of body horror. He didn't really do real horror. He did body horror.
No, but he was known for gore. That's why they called him the Wizard of Gore.
Well, Sam.
His was more like
Pop. I was gonna say that Sam Raimi and Wes Craven both called George A. Romero the grandfather of the zombie genre. So,
a lot of it. I mean, we wouldn't have The Walking Dead without The Night of the Living Dead. So, you're a fan of The Walking Dead, yeah.
Well, there is a movie called The Walking Dead from the 1930s with Boris Karloff.
Oh, very cool.
Well, yeah,
He's the
but
one that started
those
on
are the
it. He's the one that-
traditional. Those are the traditional voodoo zombies. They're not
they're more like
the.
But
There's
they're
no,
more
yeah,
like
this is the first flesh-eating zombies on screen, as far as I'm aware. All
It
the
is,
zombies
yeah.
in the movies before were the voodoo zombies,
Ghouls.
like you said.
They were
Right.
ghouls.
Well, no, because ghouls are technically people who dig up
No,
corpses and
ghouls-
eat
yeah,
them.
Exactly. That's what ghouls are. The zombies are literally brain dead things that just keep walking around.
Yes,
Yeah.
because
And
they did have.
ironically,
Well, what's the
you
difference
have to
between that and a
destroy.
standard YouTuber?
Well, that's
Well,
the
remember, Bill
ironic thing
Lugosi-
about zombies is you have to destroy the brainstem in order to kill them. But
This was the movie that established that you have to destroy the brain. Right. This is the first one.
right.
But the
Yeah.
but the word
Yeah.
zombie had already been used in Hollywood because Bela Lugosi starred in a movie called White Zombie.
Yeah. Also,
Well, that's any
if you
dead
watch-
creature that came back prior to this movie. Any dead creature that came back would be a zombie. Even though there were
Well, if you-
classifications even then about what kind of evil or what kind of living dead are they?
yeah, and if you watch some of the movie, you see that the zombies are actually eating some raw meat. That came from the Pittsburgh.
Well, we'll cover that when we get there,
Factory down in
please.
the-
We'll cover that when we get there.
Yeah,
We'll cover
well,
that when we get there.
Sorry.
Let's
Sorry.
wait till we get
All right,
there.
let's move on then,
We're
Pop,
still
shall we?
in- Yeah, we're
Yeah,
still in the
I'd
cemetery
love to.
scene. Let's.
All right. So
Sorry.
Saventi.
Go ahead.
here we're introduced to Barbara and her
Sorry,
brother
go ahead.
Johnny. But right, try to not to jump ahead on scenes. I know this is an old movie, but I usually try to keep our comments to specific scenes while we're watching them, because I don't want to confuse people if they have not seen the movie, or if people are coming in on the rerun watching this later on, and if we're describing a scene that we have not seen yet, it really doesn't make a lot of sense to them. So if you have comments about a specific scene, try to save it until that scene happens. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, Bob. Thank you. Yep.
And here we are. I'm not going to read all the dialogue because I've been stricken before just for reading dialogue. I found that out on my Gilligan's Island stream, so I got to be careful. So that's why I have the subtitles on there, and I usually try to leave them on there long enough that everybody can read them. In fact, those are my Gilligan's Island subtitles. They seem to work pretty good for these horror movies.
I was
Be a horror
wondering
movie
what
without
that
the
font
Gilligan's Island
was.
subtitles.
Well, not only that, but no description we give will be an accurate summation of the movie. You need to go and watch these movies yourself. Like, just watch this film on your own. It's good.
Yeah, and I'm hoping you
We're
have already
buying.
seen it because I don't want to spoil it.
No,
Yeah.
I bought it. I own it, Pop. We've seen it.
No, I know you have. I'm talking to basically the general audience.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking to people who have not seen it.
Yeah, the people out
Right.
there. He's talking
Well,
about you lot. out there.
You can watch it on YouTube for free. You don't even have to pay for it. So, yeah.
Well, there's
Is that
a
what
link.
free means?
You can watch it on YouTube, but you're going to get commercials. I did put a link in my community
What?
panel where you can watch it on a website where it's completely unedited, uncut, and commercial free. So I only will suggest YouTube as a last resort.
I don't know. I only had one commercial during the whole hour and a half, so.
Well, I'll always keep YouTube as a last resort. So here's where they're going to visit a relative, and they're chatting back and forth.
Well,
Are
they're
you
not
typing or
visiting
chewing?
a relative. They're going to a grave, their father's grave, I believe, or maybe.
Well,
their
that's what I
mother's.
meant. Yes.
Yeah, it's like 6 hours away from where they live. It's the first part in the movie where we see that the dead is an inconvenience to the living, and it's not the first time, or the last time, I should say.
Yeah, can I just say how much of a dick this guy is? They make this trip like once a year. He can't spare, let's say 13 hours, 6 hours there, and say like an hour there, and 12 hours or 6 hours back.
He's the
Yeah,
evil
he's a
brother.
cheapskate.
Trust me. I
he's a
have
cheapskate.
relatives. Trust me, I've got relatives who are like that. It's like, please come up here. It's only 2.5 hours away, but
Yes.
no.
Same
They
here.
won't.
I've had relatives who complained at the funeral. Why am I here? When is this going to be over? So no, I know. I
Really?
completely understand. Oh
Yeah.
yes. I had
crazy?
my grandmother.
When's the after
My
party?
my grandmother was on her deathbed dying, and my uncle stood there and said, "Oh, when is this going to be over?" And I'm like, "Oh my goodness."
Really?
I'll stand and object that I like this character is better. Yeah, like he made the trip. He's like he didn't want to do it, but he did.
Yeah, is somebody chewing or typing?
Someone's writing a novel. It's someone. I think someone pointed
No,
out.
it sounds like chewing. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm perceiving it as a key depressing sound, like someone's just typing, I don't know, all work and no play makes Jack a dull boy over and over again.
Yeah, if you're typing, please mute.
Yeah. Okay. We got a few chats here. I'm gonna catch up.
Incoming.
Gap says newbie gorillas.
That's the set. Is that the sound pops? Did you hear that?
No, it stopped.
Like a click.
It was a clicking.
I heard that keystroke sound.
Somebody stopped typing.
All right.
Someone on the panel is not admitting to typing while they're on the panel.
My keyboard, I got a silent keyboard, so if I do type, it's more silent. But I haven't typed anything in a while, and I couldn't get anything.
I got a squeaky old chair. Is this? Can you hear that?
Well,
is that it?
I don't.
No, that's a different sound.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
I know some of us have background noise sometimes, but I just try to. I'll bring it up if it's something that's interrupting the dialogue of us talking. It's overriding what we're saying.
L.I.B. Look at that. Here, let me see if you can hear my typing. And apparently you guys could not hear my typing. So somebody on the panel has a keyboard
that's okay.
Aiming instead of typing.
I like they have the keyboard from the old 90s laptop or late 90s desktops there.
Yeah, the 1890s, am I right?
An IBM
It's all right.
18.
Whomever is on the panel that still has an old typewriter that they've got managed
well,
to
this Hemingway, please stop.
All right. Deej here says, yes, this is rather tame, but the body at the top of the stairs did send people out of the theater sick. Dang wimps in 1968.
I loved it.
Hey, we haven't gotten to that scene yet. You did not respect. You did not respect the host. You did not respect the host. You skipped forward. You're not allowed to do that.
He written it 10 minutes ago.
Yeah, he may have done that before I brought it up. So totally no problem.
And Gap says, "Who's typing a novel? I hear typing." and
with one finger.
Yeah, and Suzanne says, "Gap, I just subbed to you."
cool.
Spoiler, Mikey.
Yes,
Thanks,
Gap, I know.
And Gap says, "Do you have a channel, Suzanne?" And she says, "I don't Night of the Living Dead on stream as long as it's the original version and not color or was with scenes added. It's safe to play on YouTube."
Yeah, they made a version where they added extra scenes, and it's deplorable. Don't ever watch that, you guys.
That's the 30th edition.
Yes, done.
Or the 30th anniversary, I should say. Sorry. They did a 40th anniversary, which is much better. You should buy that one.
Yeah, was that Turner Classic Movies that did that pop? The additional stuff? I recall.
I don't remember, but I don't remember, but I remember I bought the DVD on accident, and then when I saw what they did, I took it back. I told them it was defective, and I got my money back.
Pops, I'm gonna put my leg up.
Good call.
If my comments are
language is okay. This is
that's fine. Hopefully my microphone will pick up my voice, but I gotta put my leg up, otherwise I'm really gonna be hurting tomorrow.
Yeah. Make yourself comfortable.
Yeah, and Susan says, "Gap, no." Sean here says, "Guys, there's some serious background clicking or something coming through. I think it's come from whoever just opened the soda."
The soda's fine.
Are you kidding me? I opened one beer and everybody thinks I'm the typist. I'm not the typist.
I was going to say that, yeah, when somebody opens a soda or a beer, that's no problem. It's constant clicking or chewing or eating or something like that when it interferes.
I had a brownie, but that's about it.
Actually, now it started raining here, so that might be clicking, but that's not the typing that was earlier. That's a
So
different.
Deep says 3-hour drive one way,
And I
3 hours back.
Stroganoff earlier.
Bitch. I haven't even served the porridge yet.
Yeah.
Move on.
All right. Deep said 3 hours one way and 3 hours back, hence the 6 hours. So that's even fucking worse. So that guy couldn't even spend 6 hours to go see put a wreath on his father's grave once a fucking year. So 7 hours of his time is not worth his go see his father's grave. This guy's a bigger dick than that.
Then I must be too, because when my dad kicked the bucket, he was an asshole, and I was only there at the funeral because my family insisted, and I never went back and visited again, and I have no intention to. He was a deadbeat. So it all depends on the situation.
Shall we move on and talk about zombies instead of our deadbeat dads? Even though my dad was not deadbeat.
So let's finish up.
Deadbeat.
Yeah, because we're picking apart the characters when we haven't even started the movie yet.
Well, he's dead right away anyhow. So, but anyhow, Gaps said.
Oh, spoilers, bro! Jesus.
You're not supposed to go forward in the movie. We're supposed to be watching it together.
Wait, so if Pop Culture does a review of Kramer versus Kramer, I'm going to be like, can we not? Because
no, if you don't like the movie, just say so.
Exactly. If he had a bad dad in the movie, he had a bad. What are you going to do? It's like, I don't like zombies in the movie. He's got zombies. What are you going to do?
Raise your hand if you've actually seen Kramer versus Kramer. That is a deep reference that nobody has ever seen. Come on.
Well, why are we talking about Kramer versus Kramer instead of zombies? Let's talk about zombies.
It's a metaphor for if something has troubled you in real life, you might not be averse to seeing it in the movie. I can't watch Star Wars because I had a troubled relationship with my father.
It was
that kind of thing.
Silly New Zealander who brought it up, not me.
But the issue seems to be a lot of anger being aroused by the fact that this guy won't drive 6. You could total 7 hours. Is the son the asshole or the father? I mean, we're not even got to the zombies yet. I want to understand this troubled young man's relationship with his father.
Right, we're 3 minutes into the movie and 48 minutes into the stream, so keep that in mind.
All right.
So welcome to Midnight to Midnight with zombies.
All right, Sean.
I think we've all accepted. Now I was gonna say, I think we've all accepted that this guy with glasses is a bastard and deserves to be a zombie.
Well, no, maybe it was a reasonable reaction to a bad father. You see, maybe his actions are justified.
All right, so
I would have to agree with Cap on that one.
There you go.
All right, Gap says, Sean, I think Nemesis is typing a novel. Mr. CCDV says, here, let me see if you can hear me typing. D says, quiet down, Mr. CCDV. I wrote that long before he said it. And Deej says that one with the priest added with the dog is the nursing home sucked. Yes. Here's episode of the Media's channel where he flooded everybody's page there with classic cars.
Yeah.
You are so welcome for that. Yeah. That's what I do,
nice
apparently.
Nice videos, Nemesis. I was checking those out. Very nice videos.
Yeah.
Where were you when I was rebuilding with the front end of my truck and it fell on me?
It's all your fault.
I'm sorry, bro. That's what I do.
Yeah. And Chief says, I can see that icon move who was typing, but I'm not being a narc. I thought this was about zombies. All right, we're getting there. We're getting there.
It totally is about zombies. We're getting there.
What they did establish is he was listening to the radio and the radio cut out. And that's why she mentions there's nothing wrong with he says there's nothing wrong with the radio, must have been the station. So that's our first hint that something's wrong. Sorry, go ahead, Gorilla.
No, I just said that was all the chats.
Perfect. There we go. So now they're entering the cemetery, and George Romero, by the way, shot this what's called guerrilla style. He had no permits or permissions and paid nothing, which normally you have to do legally to do any kind of filming or shooting. So he picked a cemetery out in the middle of nowhere, and that way he wouldn't get caught by the local authorities.
And that, my friend, is a wink, wink, nudge, nudge to all of us YouTube creators who make videos on our own and post them. It's like you don't have to pay the cemetery for permission to get in there.
Right, just don't show.
Well, there was a big storm when they were filming that.
Yeah.
And like it uprooted like 200 bodies, so there was like actual corpses on the set.
Yeah,
oh, nice.
Our cops here, they wouldn't even bother trying to arrest you for filming all that because they got to deal with the locals. They might not get.
Yeah. No, but I bet you if there's somebody visiting a relative, they're gonna complain.
This is going to take us forever to get past the cemetery scene. If you guys keep talking about how cemeteries are not allowed to, persecute people, but get on with it. Get on with it.
Yeah, this conversation's a dead end. Come on.
I think running through a cemetery is so much fun. My brother and I did it one time, ran through a cemetery. I thought it was fun.
And here's where Johnny's placing this wreath and cross on the grave.
Yeah, this is the part that I have so much trouble with because a woman, any woman that I've ever known, would be the one who wants to place the wreath, and she is letting her brother do it. And I'm like, no, that's bullshit. That's bullshit.
Right, especially because he doesn't care. You figure
the woman wants all the credit.
He wants to reuse the same wreath over and over every year.
Right, because he even complained that the one from last year was gone.
Well, some people actually steal flower arrangements off of graves. I've seen that before.
Oh yeah, that happens a lot where they'll go and they'll steal a bunch of bouquets and flowers from graves so they can put it on their loved one's grave because they don't want to spend a penny.
These graveyards are magnets for criminals. Yeah, they're full of flower thieves and guerrilla filmmakers.
It's true. It's true. That's actually a real grave that they're at there.
Who's Johnny? I don't even know who Johnny is.
I thought that was Johnny, the glass-eyed boy out there.
Gorilla, you're cutting out. You might want to check your internet connection.
Yeah, Gorilla, you're cutting out pretty bad.
I'm not cutting out.
That was not Gorilla. That was Mikey.
I'm sorry, Mikey. Oh, Mikey. Sorry about that, Gorilla. Yeah, Mikey, your internet connection's cutting out. You might want to check it out.
See, even I believe other people.
Even you?
Even I believe other people.
Well,
sorry about that, Gorilla.
About the church going. Well, we're in the part where it's calling about the church going.
I got it. Wow. Okay.
Way to go.
I can play maybe a second or two. I just got to be careful.
I am the host.
Well, at least play the Barbara for everybody.
I'll be careful. You'll be undead.
There it is. They're coming to get you, Barbara.
And of course, he does it in a bad Boris Karloff impersonation or voice.
Yeah.
They're coming for you, Barbara.
Stop it. You're acting like a child.
Yeah, the scene definitely went down in history.
Oh,
look, this is definitely the now. This is what everybody knows. They're coming for you, Barbara. This is the only scene that everybody knows.
And of course, she's not knowing
a big movie without knowing this.
Right, and what I really like about this first initial zombie attack is that, like, we're grounded in reality. Like, it's just a brother and a sister. Like, they're in a graveyard. Normally, there'd be, like, police there or something, or there'd be, like, a body with the throat ripped out, and they'd be explaining that, or something bad would have happened. But right now, it's just like we're grounded in reality, and that's
the whole thing. That's what makes this so amazing, is that it's really literally within a whole mile square of what happened. Obviously they filmed stuff outside of that one whole mile square, but 1 mile square would have taken care of filming this entire movie.
I was saying there's Pop scene up there in the far right corner. There it is right there. Wow.
And of course he kills Donnie, but he's got his eyes set on Barbara.
Of course, because Barbara's alive, and also she's very cute. Although I don't.
That's right.
She has brains. And she has brains.
Zombies do. Right, zombies do prefer.
I would argue that.
I would argue that she has brains. I don't believe she has brains at all.
No, she does not.
She is one of those femme fatales that.
This was the era before we had the strong. This is the era before we had the strong, independent woman and all that kind of stuff.
I know. I swear I said I wouldn't do this, but at the end of the movie, you'll see. It's like it doesn't matter whether you defend her or not. You're gonna get killed. Sorry, I ruined it. If anybody hasn't seen it, I mean, it's been 50 years, but whatever.
Should we catch up on chat real quick? We got a few of them.
Yes, thank you, Gorilla.
Oh man.
Deej is asking.
Celebrating the 5th. Sorry.
Yeah, Deej is asking, am I a zombie because I want to eat Barbara?
Well, she was pretty hot.
Well,
yeah,
kill us all.
Exactly.
Kill us all, then
She
we'll come back as
hot.
zombies.
She was hot.
Oh man.
Gap says yes, Deej. And Deej says, damn. Gap's laughing. And Gap says, depends on what type of eating, Deej. So we're getting the devil symbol here. And Suzanne says that boy just grilled up a couple of steaks for steak sandwiches. Nice.
That's right.
Tell you
And
what.
Johnny, you live 3 freaking hours away. You wouldn't have bought the same ones. Here's some damn Gorilla's channel for reviews and shorts and watch parties here. And he says, unless you bought it at the shop at the entrance of the damn cemetery, LOL. And Dean says, yes, Mr. CCTV, you are a homecoming queen. Mr. CCTV, thank you.
Who's Johnny? Who's Johnny? Has
And
anyone heard of Johnny?
And Dean says the real line for the 1990 version is better. Because Johnny adds, they're coming for you, Barbara. They're awfully horny. They've been dead for a long time.
No kidding? Really?
Right.
Really?
Yeah, I want
That's
to comment on that.
scene? That's the added scene.
No. I want to thank you for bringing it up, Deej. No, here's what happened. Okay, when this movie was originally made, George Romero wanted Tom Savini to do the makeup effects, but Tom Savini had been drafted and was in the military. So
he was a combat photographer in the Vietnam War.
Right. So one of the actors that will be introduced later. Right. So one of the actors that will be introduced later here actually did the makeup effects for the movie. But what happened was in 1990, Tom Savini directed a color version remake of this. So what we're talking about is something different, and that was actually a good movie. And it starred Tony Todd, the guy that went on to do. Right. It starred Tony Todd, the guy that went on to do Candyman. And we will be covering it in this stream in the future because it was actually a good movie. So we're not talking about the 30. Yes, we're not talking about the 30th anniversary garbage and where they added extra scenes. We're talking about a straight up remake in color that was made in 1990 that was directed by Tom Savini.
And it was awesome.
It sounds like it's worth a watch.
Oh, absolutely. I recommend it. It's one of the few remakes that's actually pretty good. I'm not going to say it's better than the original, but it holds up. Hold on. I gotta mute. I gotta call.
Okay.
Time for chat.
Now you guys can go off on your tangents.
Yeah, Tom Savini is a awesome. He's still alive, isn't he, guys? Right, Tom Savini. You know, he's one of the best. I have to say, he's one of the best zombie makeup artists in like the world, and he's just he has done. He did so much for the Evil Dead. He did so much for a vampire movie for John Carpenter called Vampires, which is a great classic if you see it too. It's awesome. And yeah, I mean, Savini is one of the geniuses of makeup. You know, he's awesome. Great stuff.
Well, and I mean, I think the fact that he was actually a combat photographer helps a lot. He was in the shit. He saw real life blood and gore. He knows what it actually looks like.
Well, your name is but he served in the Pacific Theater, saw a lot of the dead bodies, and like on the islands and Okinawa and stuff like that. So yeah, he was there. He'd seen all of it, all the blood and gore. So he knew exactly how people are supposed to look when they're in bloody and gory, and yeah, absolutely. I do remember that.
All right.
You were trying to say something, bud?
Are we still reading the chat, or are we proceeding with the movie?
Oh, we got two of them
Go
here.
ahead and read the chat. Go ahead and read it.
Go for it, Mila.
Tony Todd and Patricia Talisman from Babylon 5.
Oh, she did Babylon 5. Oh, wow. Because she was beautiful. And tough. That's another thing, too. We're talking about Barbara here, how she was the damsel in distress and the weakling. And then, by the way, I'm going to the credit of the character, is because she's going through trauma at this point. But right, in the 1990 remake, she's much more tougher, along the lines of Sigourney Weaver from Alien.
Well, in this original version, she is exactly what women are expected to be. Just whiny, crying, screaming, yelling. They're not useful at all. That is what 1960s women were expected to be. So the 90s version may have been better on that score, but it's definitely not better on storytelling score.
No, not always. No, but she is, and I don't want to spoil too much on the remake, but she's traumatized at first, but she gets over it sooner than the Barbara character does in this movie. I'll put it that way, without spoiling too much.
Yeah, she asserts herself more in the 1990 version. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Dee says the 1990s version is great. Then Dee says this scene shows why most women shouldn't drive. Okay, I'm going to help.
You know what? I have to agree with that. I have to agree with that.
And Susan says, "Be right back."
Wholeheartedly. Oh man. Okay,
All right,
Susan
says,
all right, Susan. We'll see you when you get back, Suzanne. The zombie shamble.
I always admit to being an asshole, so I accept the consequences of saying that women can't drive for shit.
Name is Savine. Do you know the history behind this scene?
Yes, I do. They got into an accident, and so they were filming this. So before the scene, we hadn't seen any other. We had only seen the right side of the vehicle because they had gotten into an accident. And so they incorporated the accident that they had, into this scene by making it seem like Barbara ran into the tree and it dented the shit out of the car, when in reality it was something that had happened, I think, a week earlier.
Yeah, it happened off camera, so that you're right.
In reality,
there was an accident earlier. Yeah.
The real question here at this point is, was it an actual woman driving when they mashed up the car?
Yeah, that detail may be forever forgotten in history. I'm not sure.
Well, can you see through the car? See who's driving right there in that scene right there?
No, that's not the person who was driving when the accident happened, though, Gorilla.
I'm joking. I'm sorry. I apologize for all of that
You really
horribleness.
can't see. Yeah.
Yeah, I think one of the best quotes I've heard from this movie is its flaws are budgetary, but its virtues are visionary.
Oh my God, her running is so hilarious. It's like she's never run in her entire life. She's so ridiculous.
Yeah, you know what's funny is that the barn actually had a gas pump. I found that hilarious. Maybe
That's
down
not
there,
unusual,
maybe up there they have
actually.
that, but
for people who live in the boonies, it was
could comment on that more than I could, but yeah.
No, I
there's
can
a
actually
lot of
comment
farms
on
out there with 2,000-gallon tank under the ground for fuel with a little pump.
Yeah,
if you've got 1,000 acres, you don't have a choice. It's not like you can run to the corner to get diesel or gas.
Yeah. All the farms around here, they have gas tanks on our farms just because you can't take. It's kind of inconvenient to take the tractor into town to go fuel up. So instead, they have a fuel pump come out and fill up the tank so that they can fill up their tractors.
I see. So there is a common use for that. Okay.
Yeah,
definitely.
Well, that kind of confused me because I was like looking at it, going, "Huh." I hadn't seen anything like that except, going down south or something like that. Where I would anticipate they'd have
You guys have never considered that before, ever? Like you thought that was something that just like they made up for the movie? Like I'm at the gas pump. It's Anton's pistol or whatever they call it.
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun.
Chekhov's gun. You thought it was Chekhov's gun.
That works. Nice Star Trek link.
Anton, I don't even know what I was saying, but
imagine.
Or is it the playwright? Hang on a minute. Which one's Anton? Anyway, carry on.
Anton was the playwright, so my bad. I thought it was.
I love the lighting in this scene.
Short circle on the Enterprise. There's a joke in there somewhere.
Good point, Nemesis. Good point. And the history of this is they went out when they were scouting locations for the movie. This house was already abandoned and scheduled to be demolished. So they got permission at no charge to be able to use the house. They actually had to clean it and fix it up to look like it was livable for the movie. And the first
Isn't that fantastic? Well, I mean, we've got houses right here in this small town that haven't been lived in for 50 years. And you could buy them for, pennies on the dollar and then refurbish them. In this case, they made a movie out of it. And I love that. Yep. I love that they did that with this budget.
Yeah.
It's just too bad that this house couldn't have been saved. Like, this would have been ground zero for horror fans.
Yeah, it's too bad.
Yeah, the big tourist. The cemetery has since turned into a big fan thing. And so, it was the same thing would have happened with the house, just like the one from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's a big draw for fans. Which has been turned into a restaurant. And we'll cover that when we cover that movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it's okay to pay a few seconds here.
There she is in the house, and she's not screaming thank God she's not screaming now.
And you're right. Right. And Nemesis, you're right with the Stark lighting.
Screaming soon.
Well, it's her party. She can cry if she wants to, right?
You would cry too if it happened to you.
No, I would agree, right? Like, she's going through trauma. You just went into some stranger's house. You're dealing with fucking random bullshit. Like, we can only imagine what she's dealing with. Like, how much of the lighting is in her head? How much of this is in her head? Like, this is all going to be so surreal to her. Like, I'm not a big fan of the way that she transgresses through the movie, but, like, I understand. Now, here's a very Sam Raimi type of atmosphere here, right? Like, this is very cliche nowadays, but back in the day, like this shot with the animals right here, where you see Barbara and the light's right on her face and it's illuminating the horror, right? She's in shock, she's stunned. Meanwhile, like, we're about to pan to like a room full of dead, severed animal heads.
Right.
And like, considering she... Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, I was just going to say another advantage of black and white over color is the stark lighting, which adds to the horror, in my opinion, the shadows.
Oh yeah, with the,
I think it adds. I think it adds more to the mystery too. I think it adds more to the mystery of what's going to happen next. Definitely.
Yeah. In fact, George Romero had trouble.
A lot more Hitchcockian than I should say. Hitchcockian seems like a silly word, but I just made it up. So it does seem that
it's actually been around. Right. It's been around.
Yeah.
Oh, it has been.
Romero was inspired by Hitchcock too. Don't forget.
And remember here, and to give us a frame of reference of her mental stability at this point, we're getting a Dutch angle. So, which means that something's askew, and she obviously this is a way of cueing the audience, which was definitely exceptional for George Romero at the time. Notice that everything's at an angle, so that's called the Dutch angle.
Are we overthinking this? I think we may be overthinking.
Overthinking? Impossible.
Hey, welcome, Boomer. Welcome, Boomer.
Hello, fan Boomer. Good to see you. Notice it looks like it's dark outside when we're in the house, but it's clearly daylight when we're out of the house. See this right here?
Hey, when you're
recognize that scene? Recognize that from Evil Dead?
Yeah.
Evil Dead 2 and 3. There was a random stick with a clothesline on the left side of the house, and Bruce Campbell had to stumble through it. And I think that was a homage to the scene here.
Yeah, that was an Army of Darkness too, wasn't it, Pop? Yeah, the same kind of thing.
I'm not sure if it was an Army of Darkness, but I know it was an Evil Dead. At least 2.
Evil Dead 2, right? Okay, 2.
Evil Dead 2, yeah. It was indeed Evil Dead 2. Absolutely. When he put the chainsaw on his arm and all that stuff, yeah. All that same thing, yeah.
And this is like sort of like a homage to Psycho with the like Nemesis mentioned with the dead animals, the taxidermy.
Oh yeah, right. Where Sir Anthony Perkins said, yeah.
Did
that
Psycho
cool.
come out before this?
Yes, Psycho was, I believe, 65. Gorilla, do you remember? Gorilla covered it.
1960.
Psycho was
1960 was Psycho. Yeah, 60.
Yes, and this is 60. Right, and this is 68.
Right. So basically, picture Barbara not here, but in the shower scene, and that would probably sell it for you.
All right, and what good is a horror movie if you have a telephone that works?
Well, I think the radio station going out should have been like the foreshadowing earlier when they said the radio station.
Every time I break down, every time my poor truck gives out, every single time I break down, it seems to be in an area where I don't get a signal on my phone.
Even with all this technology, you still have that same issue, of course.
Yeah. Always.
And here we are. We have some more visitors.
Woo! They're coming.
Hey, everybody over here.
Right.
Hey!
Love the people
Come get
in
this
this movie. They're so
woman.
wonderful.
Oh, man.
Honestly, don't know how they did the lighting with this. I mean,
Whoa!
Nice.
That's nice.
I work on stuff around my house and in the backyard and stuff, and it's like I don't get enough light, but apparently these people know how to get lighting in places, and it's like
you're right. They placed it's dark lighting, and they placed it perfectly. It adds to it.
Yeah. Welcome, Skogly.
Hey, Skogly,
Skogly.
Cheers, Skogly.
I can actually imagine Nemesis. Some people in the drive-in, some women actually is freaking
Sorry, you're cutting out, Mikey.
Well, you got to think about.
You are
it.
cutting
This
out
is
pretty bad. Yeah.
Yeah, Mikey, you might want to check your net connection.
He is right now seeing that body on the ground. I can actually see that.
Well, you got to think that this is the first or one of the last films before the movie rating system came out, right? So kids could go in and see this movie.
You're right. This was right
it was
before
way
it,
after. So. It was way after MPAA.
No, it wasn't.
MPAA, it was actually 1 month before MPAA enacted the rating system.
Oh, it was only 1 month. Oh,
1 month.
Wow. Yeah, 1
so
month
this
before.
is it's unrated, right?
It.
Otherwise, it would have been
case. In that case, I sit corrected. I apologize.
Yeah, it would have been a rated X at the time, but it's unrated because it was 1 month before.
Hey, PvP, I don't see you backstage, but this will be a good chance here to catch up on the few chats we got here.
Thank you.
Hey, PvP.
Suzanne says, "Hey, shut up."
PvP.
And Boomer says, "Howdy." And Suzanne
Hey, Phantom Boomer.
I'm back. LOL. And Suzanne says,
I get Suzanne there. Yeah.
Yes, Suzanne says, "Phantom, hello." And then Boomer says, "Howdy, pop culture and everybody's."
Good to see you.
Evil Dead 2.
Good to see you.
This is where Scogli Media says, "Cheers, everybody." And Suzanne says, "Scogli, hello." Boomer says, "Dinner, ding, 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 ding." Well, you enjoy your dinner there. Here is Sean Carter's channel for model work.
Absolutely. Check out Sean's channel, everybody. Fantastic. He does some great model work. I highly recommend it. So please check it out when you get a chance.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely.
And Scogli Jota says, "Hi, Suzanne." And PvP says, "Hi, folks." And then PvP says, "Backstage." Well, I don't see ya. And Suzanne says, "PvP, hello." And then PvP says, "Trying again."
Is there too many people on the panel? I don't know. Is that a thing?
I don't think so. Maybe we didn't hear the beat. Try it again, PvP.
That may be the case. If it's too many
1,
people
2,
on
3,
the
4.
Well,
I think I'm allowed.
I'll drop off.
No, not necessary. Not necessary. We're not maxed out. I think we're allowed 10.
Yeah, if you pay the $20, you're allowed 10.
Yeah, we're
right. So we're allowed at least. Yeah, we're allowed at least 2 more, 3 more.
Well, let me try to remove
somebody
myself.
typing again.
Yeah. Here, let me try to remove it myself to see if it pops in.
Oh, you still have the survey up at the top of the screen instead of the StreamYard link. The StreamYard link is at the very top of the chat. I'm not sure how long Pleasant Valley Picker's been.
I pinned it to the. Yeah, I should be able to click on it.
No, you pinned the survey to the top of the chat. You didn't pin the link.
Thank you for pointing that out.
Here, let me put the link in again here. Because you have the right link.
Yeah, it's posted. I'm looking at it now. 614. 614. It says if you have a good net connection and if you've seen the movie, join the panel. 614 is when it was 614 our time. That is.
There, I posted the link again in the chat here.
Thank you, Gorilla.
Yeah,
silly wrenches.
Pop. There it is. I heard a pop, and that was Gorilla.
There you go. There's PvP.
Ah, there you go.
Hey, yeah. Can you hear me, guys?
Hey, there he is.
There you are.
PvP.
Yeah, the link you had posted, Pop, was from yesterday. I realized after I clicked on it a couple times and it didn't work. It's like it didn't work.
Oh, you did the group one, not the one in the chat here.
Yeah, I went to the group one because I figured that's always the place to go, right?
Oh, I didn't get a chance to post it.
I didn't realize.
I went to the group chat first as well. And
I didn't realize that it was in the regular chat.
I forgot. Yeah, I apologize, guys.
Oh, well. No worries.
And Suzanne here says, "That's what I did. I bought an old abandoned house, dirt cheap, and been fixing it up." Well, there you go.
Nice.
As long as you know how to do that stuff,
Okay, let's get on with the movie because this is a totally different chat. I bought this house and it's 80 years old and I've been working on it for 4 years. But let's go on and move on to the movie, shall we?
I will continue marching on. We shall march on.
Yes.
But Gorilla, feel free to read the chat. Feel free to read the chat, Gorilla, if there's any new chat.
Yeah, we're all caught up.
So this was a really striking movie, obviously, nowadays, because we have a black lead actor.
Yes.
Whereas, like, back in the day, they weren't... He was hired just because he was the best actor. It wasn't anything to do with his skin color or anything like that. He was the best one for the job.
Yep, and so they rewrote the character because originally it was not written for a black man, but he impressed George Romero so much with his the guy, obviously he's a very good actor for such a low budget movie and he really shines. So it was a wise decision.
And that's Duane Jones, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yep. I believe so. Yep.
So
hey, good to see you, man.
Yeah, good to see you.
Yeah,
let me say
actually
the name right.
The entire
Suzanne
cast in this.
Eckstein.
The entire cast is actually pretty solid in this movie.
Yep.
It is. It really is. Like, every one of them, they're all no-name actors, like Pop was saying, and that really adds to the charm, right? Like,
oh yeah,
it'd be a lot different if we had, I don't know, give me a big name actor for back in the '60s, guys. I couldn't tell you.
Yeah.
Well, and now they'd be
Brando. Brando would be like the guy who's Brando would be the guy who is nailing the boards and stuff, because Brando in the '60s had like abs and stuff, you know.
Yeah, I mean,
Brando in the
Desire and all that
was the
but these days, if this was made now, it'd be probably 6 women, 1 man. And he would be a cuck and a beta and a feminine. And they'd all look like models out of a magazine.
And all the
people look like
would be doing all the work, and he would be just sitting back going, "I'm just
right." He would be Barbara, right? He would be Barbara, and the women would be taking over.
He would
well, and I mean, the ending would still be the same though, and it would still work.
Yes. But here, the people, what I like about them is they look like average town people. They don't look like actors and actresses.
Oh, well, that's the whole point. He didn't have that. He didn't have the money, right? So it's like
Dwayne's playing this like Sidney Poitier.
Mikey, you're cutting out. We can't. Mikey, you might want to come back when you have a good net connection if you can. Check your net connection.
Sidney Poitier? Oh my God.
I think he was. Yeah, he was a little too big of a name actor for the time.
Yeah, I don't think he wouldn't have been right for the part anyway, because Sidney's just I never think of him as rugged, if you know what I mean. Whereas this guy's a little more.
I would say Shakespeare. Yeah, Shakespearean. I'd say refined, if I had to say.
Yeah, exactly. He would have been too refined for this movie. I think.
Yeah,
personally.
he's got incredible. How do you explain that people speak correctly?
Good diction.
He's good with his vocabulary and such.
He has incredible diction. Yes, you are correct.
That's what she said.
Oh, brother.
He was a walking thesaurus.
I have incredible diction myself, but let's move on with the movie, shall we?
Yeah, come on.
And he asked her about upstairs. He hasn't been up there yet because he just came in and he sees. And by the way, this head here was made by George Romero, and he used golf balls for the eyes.
Yeah, I love that head. It's really creepy.
Super iconic.
Yeah.
Sorry.
And the golf ball.
I'm going to put that line in my book. He's got Captain Infinity. He's got incredible diction.
Sounds like you need to get a shot.
But yeah, I really thought the head was Romero actually made that. I'm impressed. That head was pretty creepy. Damn, I'll never forget the first time I saw this. I can't remember how old I was, but I was probably in my teens. And as soon as that shot of that head came on the screen, it was like jump scare.
I did not know. I did not know until just now that it was golf ball eyeballs I had no idea.
Ping pong balls. I had to correct myself. Ping pong balls. But yes.
Brother. Ping pong balls. Wow.
Oh, ping pong balls. Well, either way, I mean, it's still
Ping
impressive.
pong balls.
Like, really impressive.
Just another example of creativity on a low budget, right, guys? You know?
Yep.
Oh,
Old refrigerator with the condenser on top. So this is
brother.
Gorilla Cover was talking about this on the Waltons. This was one step past an icebox.
So that's
this
what,
was
20s?
one of the original refrigerators.
God, I so want one of those refrigerators. I really
until you see your power bill. That's the one, of course, and those are the ones with the locking doors where the kids used to get locked inside, which is why they were phased out.
Yeah, the kids could get locked inside. Yeah, that's why they banished them. But I mean, honestly,
I had one.
Considering just putting I'm seriously just considering putting one of those like radiators on top of my regular refrigerator. I'm seriously considering
just for the aesthetic. There you go, just for the looks. I actually owned as recent as I think it was in the early 2000s, 90s. I had a fabulous 50s refrigerator. It was one of these locking ones. It didn't have a condenser and the exterior like this, but that thing was like a deep freeze, and it actually did not use a lot of power, and it was colder than a regular refrigerator, and it's probably still running to this day. The only reason why I didn't take it with me when I moved is because it was like moving a safe. And with 2 or 3 of us, it almost fell on me, and I said, "I'm leaving it here."
So you're telling me you could have like jumped in that refrigerator and survived a nuke, is what you're saying, right?
No, I would have been fried. I would have
can't survive a nuke in that old refrigerator.
Yes. Afraid not. No, it's not that good. No, I would be an immediate roast chicken.
It's not that protective. It's not that protective.
They really did build things like refrigerators to last back then, though, because I can remember as a kid in the 60s, I think my parents had like a post-war fridge they probably bought slightly after the war in the late 40s, early 50s. And that sucker was still running like 100%. Yes. In the late 70s, when I was, in my late teens, the thing was still, working perfectly, wonderfully, so yeah, built to last.
Well, they were. I don't know if you guys. I'll make this quick. It's a tangent, but I'll make it quick. It all started with the light bulb. The first light bulb that was invented is actually could last forever. In fact, there's one that still exists in a fire station that's over 100 years old. But when the companies that produced them decided or realized that when people were not coming back and buying new ones, they redesigned it to where it burned out automatically, and that's eventually what it affected everything else that we see now.
I've
built-in obsolescence.
I've heard about that light bulb in the fire hall. Yeah, I remember reading about that years ago.
The light bulb in the fire hall, it was literally built to last forever. It was literally built with the filament to never burn out.
Yes, right. It was original Thomas Edison design.
Yeah, and Thomas Edison intended to light the entire city with, his permanent light
bulb.
And
permanent light bulb.
Somebody got a hold of the pen and said, "I'm going to make money out of this, Phillips."
Yeah, it's unfortunate the way things work out sometimes.
Well,
I would say the biggest culprit is American. America is really bad at that, especially cell phones. Apple, to be particular.
Look, dude, if I were the executive of
here we go with the phone wars. Yeah, I think they're all equally guilty. Just singling out one code. They're all assholes.
Yeah, let's get on with the movie, shall we? Sorry.
Yeah, we shall.
We have diverged again.
Notice they showed that scene without impact. We didn't actually see the tire iron hit the head, but our minds fill in the blanks. So people at the time were not used to this. The same was when we covered Texas Chainsaw Massacre. There's a lot that people think they saw that they didn't actually see.
Oh, dude, yeah, I can't wait for that movie. There's one scene in particular that traumatized me as a kid, and you don't get to see anything. It's the implication alone. Anyways, we will.
Exactly,
We're like an hour and a half into this thing, so
right, and we know what scene you're talking about, but we won't spoil it.
Yeah, totally.
So how much? Anybody know how much Anybody know how much these extras, the zombies, were paid? Like they must have been paid like minimum. I'm guessing.
Volunteers.
Really?
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
Oh wow. Well, there you
Most
go.
of them are volunteers, right?
Wow.
I volunteered for a movie once. I was an extra in a really, really, really bad superhero movie. way back in '99, I think, before I went to Bosnia. Oh, it had to have been '98 then. It had to have been '98. Anyway, it doesn't matter. I was an extra in a movie once.
I really like these.
I'm absolutely sure.
I did a few times, and the movies were never obviously publicly went anywhere. So go ahead, Nemesis.
Thank you. I really like how each of these zombies are unique. Their shuffle is unique. Their gait is unique. Everyone is obviously played by an actor, but like there's character to each one of them. Like we'll see coming up, there are certain zombies who keep making reappearances, and you're just like, it's that zombie.
Well,
right.
I think what you're saying there, Nemesis, is like when they were alive, they were individuals, and now even though they're dead, they're still individuals, right? With all their little quirks, and
yes,
people are different, right? Yeah.
Right. Like that's a good way of looking at it. PvP.
Well, thank you, Nemesis.
Yeah, Romero.
You are welcome.
Nemesis. What I read on the background of the movie is that when they hired a lot of the local townspeople in the surrounding areas to act as the zombies, well, some of these people actually performed in school plays. Some of them were in the local theater. And Romero said, well, then if you think you know how to move like a zombie, do your own unique movements. And that's why you see a lot of these zombies moving in different ways, and none of them's the same, if you notice that. So it's very unique, very cool how they were able to organize their movements and everything. So
very unique.
That is a good point.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, actually. That I could see a lot of people in, like the little local theater just loving the chance to actually be in an actual film and, see themselves on a big screen, right? That must have been quite exciting for them, I would think.
Well, I know there was at least two rhetoric.
Go ahead.
Theater. Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. There was at least 2 theater repertory companies that offered their services in the film, and George said, "Yeah, absolutely." So,
where was this film, by the way?
Pittsburgh area, Pennsylvania.
Oh, around Pittsburgh,
Pennsylvania, yeah. So, one of the things that we didn't get to see because we have to do clips instead of just actually seeing full things of the movie. If that made no sense. We're watching it as a slideshow instead of watching clips.
Right, and it does make sense, Nemesis. Let me know if there's any scenes that I accidentally do miss, and I'll try to go back and highlight them.
Oh, it's okay. It's very quick. There's just one shot where Buddy's just like, "Oh, don't look at it," and like the zombie's eyes are moving back and forth a little bit, a lot of people might think that's I really like because it's like, oh man, everything's still far. There's a little bit of movement there, and it looks really creepy. But that's only for a second.
I think you're cutting out a little bit.
Yeah, I barely heard any of that.
Yeah, you were breaking up pretty bad there, actually.
Me? Nemesis?
Yeah, I believe so.
Yes, Nemesis. Sorry about that.
Yeah. We kind of, that whole sentence was pretty garbled, really.
It was choppy as fuck.
Oh my! Can you hear me now?
Nice guy, would you? Once in a while. I mean, I know you're the other asshole on the panel, but honestly, be a nice guy once in a while, would you?
Could you cut? No, that's called being funny. Can you cut it out with the ad hominems? I'm not an arsehole. I'm fantastic. I'm actually the king of comedy over here.
No name calling, guys.
Of course you are. Yes, everybody knows that.
Yeah, no, I resent that. I've got a flow chart of everyone's emotional well-being right here.
Of course. I have Excel.
I ever think about is your emotional well-being.
That's a good one.
Thank you.
Anyway, maybe we should get back to the movie once in a while.
Right, shall we?
That
there's a movie, is there?
idea.
I forgot.
They are 4 fortifying the house now, and she did stop screaming, so that's a good thing.
Now remember, this is one of the first, if not the first, where we get the trope of people locking themselves up in a house and barricading it from zombies on the outside, which we see like later on in Evil Dead and many, many movies, Cabin in the Woods and so on and so forth. I don't like mentioning that movie. I'm not a fan of it.
I know,
Actually,
but everybody seems to do it wrong.
I want to follow up on Bob's comment just now, if I may. There actually was a film starring Vincent Price called The Last Man on Earth that I believe was probably about a decade before this.
That's the protege to I Am Legend. That's the
Legend, yeah.
I Am Legend.
And it was, of course.
Yeah, we mentioned PvP. We mentioned that at the beginning of the stream.
Oh, you did, good, because that was like for me the first. I think one of the earliest films of someone locking themselves in a house to survive, sort of trope, right? So,
right. The one big difference with I Am Legend. Go ahead.
I was just going to say this is more. The zombies almost seem like a natural disaster, like Godzilla was almost. They're like people are in the house. They're trying to board it up. They're trying to survive. We're going to see later on what happens when we add other things into the mix, like. It's more of a drama than anything, right? Like it's
a human house.
It is, in fact, very much more drama than anything else. However, and bringing up the Vincent Price movie really brings everything into a little bit of light here, because Vincent Price was like, okay, there's nothing I can do for these zombies. I'm going to lock myself up here. And then he found the cure. And then all of a sudden he's dead. And that's the end of the movie. Sorry, spoiler.
We probably should cover it one of these nights.
I would love to do that one, actually, because Vincent, as is usual, is excellent in that movie. And it's actually a lot of fun. I guess it was filmed, It was filmed in Italy, I believe.
It was a foreign movie.
Yeah.
But one of the stipulations of Vincent Price, one of the stipulations that Vincent Price had while filming that movie was he refused to use dummies when they showed him hauling bodies. He wanted to look realistic, so it was actually him moving around actual people.
Wow. Talk about dedication.
Yeah.
Wow, that is dedication.
Vincent Price, no surprise there.
You got a bunch of chats, eh?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to say.
Go for it, Go for it.
Yeah. All right, Skogley said Sidney Poitier.
Sidney Poitier.
Poitier. It's French, I believe.
We've argued about pronunciation, but Sidney Poitier, come on, sir.
He deserves the respect.
Definitely.
Academy Award-winning actor.
He does.
Well, I'm just going by what it looks like to me. So,
that's okay.
Elocution.
Yeah. Suzanne says we get 3-bedroom house for $15K. You learn how to fix it up. Yeah, that's a really good.
Gorilla, sorry. Can I interrupt you here, man? This fucking scene is incredible. If anyone hasn't seen it, it's one of the creepiest scenes in the movie to me. Where she's playing with the.
Fantastic! Oh, I love this box.
Right?
I love this box so much. Yes.
Beautiful.
Oh my god, I want one of those boxes so bad. I really do. I've got a lot of antiques in my house, but I really want one of those boxes. I really do.
CCTV. They had the same kind of box in that recent movie that came out. That Nope. That was in Nope. And they had the
I can guarantee you that
Black Man as arcade. Yeah, that was right on the horse, and they had the same kind of box thing moving. That was so cool.
You mean like in Nope, like in NOPE? Nope.
Yes.
NOPE.
It was called NOPE. It was short for
I
Not
haven't
on
heard of
Planet
that.
Earth or Not of Planet Earth.
Okay.
It's a great movie.
Is that a mainstream movie? Was it something that was at the theaters?
I never heard of that film, to be honest.
Well, never mind. Okay.
I don't remember hearing about that film at all.
All right, Suzanne says this place was built in 1934. My house got to beat by about 20 years.
15 grand for a house is pretty damn good deal.
Oh, heck yeah.
No, my house was built in 1940, and trust me, I do not.
Came out a few years ago.
I did not buy it for $15,000, so I may have moved to the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, mine was 15, and it was built in 1914. So
notice when this is when Barbara is starting to come to her senses gradually. We know she has PTSD or trauma, but she is slowly starting to help him after he's been insisting.
Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Ron Pop. I don't know how you want to be addressed. I'm sorry. Just go ahead. It's
so they're boarding
Pop,
the windows.
Go ahead. Yes.
At this point,
she finally stopped screaming, and this is when I can watch the movie.
Oh. Can we catch up on the chat here?
Go for it, Gorilla.
Yeah, go ahead.
Mr. CCDV said, "Rock on." Then Suzanne said, "Mr. CCDV, I'm trying." Yeah, someone else can read this because you all started using big words on me. You're just gonna make fun of me.
No, we don't.
Captain Infinity, that's a mighty large.
No, the one that's highlighted.
Lol.
Suzanne says,
he has proper elocution.
When you get a 3-hour house for 15,000, you're at that. Okay.
That Captain Infinity says she says Captain Infinity, that's my big dictation. Then Mikey decided to start on this year.
Elocution. He's had elocution lessons. He put his finger straight in the socket.
Then,
that is exactly how I got my elocution lessons.
Mike,
I learned the hard way.
Mike says you're welcome. Then Suzanne says you have proper whatever the hell that word is. Then there's the Boomer's channel for watch parties.
Elocution.
Then here's Boomer's channel for watch parties. All right, we're all caught up.
Thank you. And here they're destroying the furniture. They're trying to get any wood they can get their hands on. Never mind.
Pop, you might want to get rid of the chat at the bottom of the screen because it's cutting out the subtitles.
There you go. Thank you, Gorilla.
It's funny how there's a lot of excess lumber in this house. Thank goodness.
Well, this is also back when everything was made out of wood too.
Maybe the previous owner was like maybe they had some saws in the basement and they like to build stuff or something.
I just thought they weren't in the basement yet because we'll find that out later. No, I think they just started paneling off the wall.
Right.
No, they're like literally they pull boards and shit from like underneath a table at one point. And I'm like, no, that's like full on like 2x4s and like fucking 4x8s and stuff. I'm like, no, that's like legitimate lumber that they're just like pulling out of nowhere. I'm like, oh, okay, whatever. Like, I'll accept it. It is what it is. But I just think it's funny.
Maybe the owner was an eccentric carpenter who just liked to be close to his wood.
Yeah, maybe. Well, that's quite the phrasing, PvP.
That's getting
that's impressive.
Sorry. Oh well.
I actually own 6 pieces of wood that I'm not willing to use around my house, and several pieces of wood that I am. I got these pieces of wood from my niece or my sister-in-law, whose dad died, and they're
guys.
They are aspen planks, and so they're over 100 years old. And I'm like,
wow,
I want to use that to make my house look really fucking good. But I also have pine that I bought from Home Depot a few years ago. Stacked up along with the aspen that I can't use right this second. And I'm like, yep. If a zombie apocalypse happened right now, I could nail a few boards to the windows. But honestly, I own a home. I have lots of windows on the first floor. I cannot box them up with the wood that I have in my house. I would have to demolish my shed and bring all of my shed wood into the house in order to box up all the windows.
Well, according to the Zombie Survival Handbook, written by Max Brooks, Mel Brooks' son, one of the safest places from zombies is a 2-story house, and you climb to the second story and then destroy the stairs.
That is perfect. That is perfect. Because I've considered doing that. I have seriously considered doing that to my roommate.
Isn't the only problem with that theory, though, once you've destroyed the stairs and you run out of food and water, it's like you're kind of in a tough spot.
Well, yeah, but if you're surrounded by zombies, what's your choice, right?
You better stock up like on a lot of food and water before the zombies.
Well, that is part of it, right? You try to stock up, but according to the Zombie Survival Handbook, the last places you want to go is where everybody would want to go. So you don't want to go to a hospital, to a police station, none of that stuff. A high school gymnasium is a good suggestion.
Or a shopping mall, foreshadowing.
Right. Right, unfortunately.
Did the zombies remember to climb up to the top of the roof? I don't think they ever did. Did they in this thing?
No. I've never seen zombies climb.
Are we all roboting right now? Because a couple of
some of us are
in the chat thought that we were all roboting. Are we all roboting?
I don't know. Am I roboting now? Is this better? Are we okay?
I hear you. I hear you.
You don't sound too bad, actually, Nemesis. You sound.
I believe I'm perfect as usual.
Yeah, Captain's got a good.
Of course, you believe, Captain, that you are perfect every single time because you're.
Yeah, I work pretty hard at it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Captain's got
and once again, so it all depends on, because you guys were asking about the zombies and whatnot, right? Like, it all depends on what type of zombies. These ones are smart. Like, we've already seen one pick up a brick and use it to smash out a window. Like, who's to say that they wouldn't think of making like a ladder or something, like, or just once again, as Max Brooks said in the book, like they're just going to pile on top of each other. It doesn't matter about like the ones on the bottom that can't breathe, because it doesn't matter. They're not breathing. There's just going to be enough bodies once you get to it that they will breach in at some point. Like you'll notice later on in the movie, there's one shot of one window on the base level that looks unboarded. And it's like, well, why is that one like that? But apparently it's because it's like the house is built on a hill. So like the filmmakers, George Romero, didn't think that like the zombies could get in and up through that. But at the same time, I think they could.
Who am I speaking to right now?
All of us?
No,
at the same time,
the person that was speaking.
Nemesis.
Okay, Nemesis. I apologize. I own a home that's up on the side of a hill, and I can defend my home. I have neighbors who own guns. I have roommates who own guns. I don't have to worry about picking up a gun and fighting for my life. And my house is on the side of a hill, so it's like defensible and all that stuff. It's just all the stuff that I could do that these people are not doing that drives me absolutely crazy. That they're like, okay.
Well, okay. We'll put it to you this way: if they all work together and if they all did the cool stuff,
it's like
maybe we could
silly.
actually talk about them not working together.
Right. Well, we don't even know that what we're alluding to in a bit. That's in the future scene.
Don't start. We haven't even started with the basement scene yet. But
right,
when
she's going on and on and on about Johnny.
Yeah, it'd be nice if we got back to the film.
Right.
Yes. We're like, yeah. Go ahead, Pop. Go ahead.
No, that's okay. She's still going on about. She's still in. in shock, and she's going on about her brother and what happened earlier, and he's pretty much mentally and audibly tuned her out because he's busy, obviously barricading the house.
Because
and that's why he tells
the
her
right
this.
thing, and she's doing absolutely nothing.
Right?
Yeah, because she's still in shock about her brother's death.
That's right. She's dealing with trauma right now, and she's like dealing with PTSD. She's just like, wah! It's just like,
Yeah, people in a state of trauma generally aren't good at getting organized, right? So.
Oh no! Oh no!
And contrary to the old trope, I don't think he slaps her.
She slapped him first.
He does.
Yeah, he hits her. He hits her.
Yeah, he was really the actor himself was really worried about that. He's like, dude, because this is in the '60s. He's like, I'm a black dude, like about to strike a white woman. This could cause some serious problems for me.
Exactly. That's I assume that's why it's a separate scene. That's why it looks like it's broken, right?
Yeah.
That's why it looks like a separate scene.
Yeah. I don't know.
You are correct.
Yeah. I don't know how it was in '68 there after the Civil Rights Movement, but I know like if it was like in the '30s or like in the book To Kill a Mockingbird, just the accusation would have gotten him the gallows.
Right.
I just want to say, girl, this was not after the Civil Rights Movement.
This was during.
They were still pretty much in the middle of it at this point, and there were still, black people were still being lynched at this point, right?
Okay, I thought it was.
He wasn't. The lead actor. I can't remember his name. What's his name?
Duane Jones.
Obviously, one of you.
Jones.
Avery or Duane?
No, Duane Jones.
Duane Jones. Okay. Obviously, he didn't think he was auditioning for a film that would last 80 years, or it's been 60 years, right? 60 years.
Yeah, he said so in interviews. He was surprised.
Anniversary.
He was not expecting to be.
And there it is.
And here it is.
And there it is.
He goes, Alcus Mac. Fucking.
This is exactly. This is his scene right here.
Which I mean, he hits her so hard that she knocks him out, or he knocks her out. But getting back to just a little tidbit before we get a little too far into this, Martin Luther King was shot and murdered, I think, a month after. Or right at the time that they were going to deliver this movie to theaters.
Yeah,
really?
Yeah.
It was.
Yeah,
it was around 1968, Nemesis, if my old brain cells remember it correctly. Yeah, and that's when it touched off. Did it not touch off a lot of really horrible riots, like in a lot of major cities, like fire?
Oh yeah.
The Detroit riots came shortly after.
I lived
It was
through both
horrendous.
the Watts riots and the LA riots.
As a kid, I remember that shit, and it was not good times. It was very much bad stuff. Yeah.
No, I
Were
was
there
not,
zombies?
I was not
worse than zombies.
Captain.
No, I'm not saying whether it's better or worse, but
Sorry.
were there zombies there at the time?
We're talking about real history here, so no, there were no zombies.
That's my point.
No,
exactly. We're talking about real
was-
history. We're talking about the movie.
I was not alive
we're
during
trying to talk
the,
about the movie.
No, you're
No,
talking about
I
real
was
history. So
I
you've
was
gotta
not alive during
separate-
the Watts riots. I was not alive. I was born in the late 70s, so I was not alive during the Watts riots, but my mother was, and so my mother has told me stories about the Watts riots. And when the LA riots happened, I said, "Well, it looks an awful lot like the Watts riots, but the LA riots were happening at the time." And I said, "I don't want to live in LA anymore." So that is a very, very difficult cultural arc to get through while watching this movie.
Yeah.
So what we've missed out because we can't listen to audio is the gentleman on the radio was the other producer for the film. God damn it, I can't
Russo?
find his name here.
Yes, he was.
Thank you. Yeah. And he turns up as a zombie later too. Well, no, I don't believe it's supposed to represent like the actual newscaster as in zombie form, but you know,
Right.
they use the cast multiple times, and it's fantastic.
Yes, and I wanted to something that we touched on earlier is that anybody who's seen the later George Romero movies is he did start changing the themes where the zombies were more and more intelligent gradually as the movies progressed.
Like they are evolving, or
right, like Bub from Day of the Dead.
Yeah.
And then by the last one, which was Don, I can't remember his last one, but they were somewhat organizing and using weapons.
Well, even this one, there's a scene later that's amazing that we all know that I'm waiting for with bated breath, and it's a zombie that's using intelligence that does something with that intelligence. And yeah, we'll get to it when I get to it.
All right.
We're not even halfway through the movie yet, and we're at 2 hours.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that, guys.
Oh, it's not you, Pop. It's we just need to focus on the movie.
Yep.
Right, and once again, these are all just basic movie tropes, right? Nowadays, where it's like, stay locked indoors, don't go outside, we don't know what's going on. Like, whereas, like, this was, well, I don't think this was very prevalent back in the day. Like,
it helps like you were mentioning. Go ahead.
Oh no, I was going to say, Pop, that I think this prepared a lot of people for a future zombie apocalypse. Unknowingly to most people, it's very possible. Yes, unknowingly.
What's great about What's great about this scene is he's listening to the radio, so we're getting a lot of background exposition, which is explaining to us, the audience, what's going on around them without us having to see it, which saves a lot budget-wise.
Which, I mean, is amazing, but at the same time, like, this could be called exposition, the zombie movie. Like, it's pretty heavy with what it is. Like, there's a lot of characters just, like, stating stuff, and you're just like, yeah, okay, that's not supernatural dialogue, but okay. I mean, I accept it. The acting's great, don't get me wrong. They're all fantastic actors, but, like, I don't know.
Well, I think a lot of as I mentioned before, I think a lot of the background actors kind of like created their own movements, their own kind of zombie movements, and that makes it seem more authentic. It definitely made it more realistic.
Yes,
because they couldn't fake what they were doing. They were just all Romero told them to do was just that. Just do what you want to do. If you were a zombie, brainless, and you just didn't know what to do, and people would just do their own thing. That's kind of the greatest thing about this movie, is what I enjoyed about that, because it was just natural. It seemed realistic. It was good.
Well, I was referring more to just the dialogue in between the humans, as per se, Mikey, not the movements of the zombies, which is unique and natural, which is what I really like about it.
Yeah. Well, yeah, the dialogue's not insulting you either, which I appreciate in all the Romero films, is the dialogue between characters didn't insult you. You felt intellectual. With most of the stuff they were talking about, and you feel like something like that could really happen. Yeah, you didn't feel dumb with this movie, that's for sure.
Yeah, well, that's why Romero was such a good director, right? He never dumbed it down for an audience. He always wrote the scripts he wanted to write or co-wrote or whatever with other people, but he never dumbed it down for the audience.
Correct, and he was very good. That's another thing too, is unlike a lot of directors in modern day, he could actually write a good script and direct a movie at the same time.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that's why we still consider him a master to this day, right?
Yep.
Well, exactly. And it's just nice that. Thank you, Pop. It's just nice that there's not too many hands in the kitchen, right? There's just 2 producers. That's it. There's a few writers. he's directing, right? Like, once you get too many things, doesn't matter what you're doing, it could be amazing and we could all be having a fun time, or we could having a shit show. But too many hands, no matter what, causes problems.
They spoil the broth. So
exactly.
Hey, another couple of names that come to mind: John Carpenter and Roger Corman. Like those guys were pretty much outsider, outside of Hollywood doing their thing, and they were both made fantastic films as well.
Yes. Oh, for sure. John Carpenter. Man, yeah, I'm looking forward to when we cover the thing. Once we get there, that's.
I hope eventually we'll do Escape from New York too, because that's probably my favorite Kurt Russell movie. Because you got to admit, Snake Plissken is a pretty cool character.
Oh yeah. He is. Worst case scenario, we can always just do it on your channel. We can do a watch stream or something. PvP.
Oh, yeah, that's something to think about.
That'd be cool.
I'll put that on my list of future things. Anyway, let's go.
Yes, Gorilla.
I also
go ahead, buddy.
I also think that a great zombie film would be World War Z. That would be an awesome one with Brad Pitt.
I have not seen that.
Let's focus on
Train to Busan. Anyways, yes, Gorilla, chat, please.
No, I don't know. Yeah, let's focus on this zombie movie before we talk about other ones here, because let's get right. We're 2 hours in. I gotta go to bed soon.
Uh-oh.
So, right, we're going on 10:30 for Gorilla.
Ironically, I think a lot of people forget that half of the movie is nothing.
Well, that's why I was saying, like, it's all exposition. It's exposition, the movie with like 20 minutes of zombies.
Yeah.
It's a little. Go ahead.
Was Gorilla going to read chat or something? I just wanted to check.
No, Gorilla was just trying to talk.
Okay. Go ahead, Nemesis. Sorry.
No. It's he said his thing. He just wants us to focus on the movie because he has to get to bed because it's like we're 2 hours in and not even halfway through. We haven't even opened up the basement yet.
Yeah, and he's at almost 10:30 his time. So yeah. Well, I'm willing to keep motoring through it if you guys are.
For sure, me too.
I'm good at this. Yeah. Well, now he's deciding to move it. He's been hiding it there for a while, and now he's finally decided to carry it out. Yeah, way to go.
Oh, it's a woman too. It looks like.
Yes, it is. That's the body.
It is supposed to be. Yeah, it is supposed
that's
to be.
Even grosser, man.
And remember the brand Zenith? That radio would be worth a pretty penny right now.
Looks like 30s, maybe 40s. I don't know.
Possibly, yeah.
Yeah, that's the old RCA.
Zenith.
Yeah,
I remember Zenith. We used to have the Zenith TVs and stuff here in Canada, like way
back into there. It is.
Back in the 90s when Zenith was actually a thing.
Zenith, I see it. Yes.
Yeah, back when these companies actually produced quality stuff.
Well, that was when things were still made in America. Now everything's from overseas.
Yeah. What's going on? She's freaking out.
Right, because we can't hear what's going on outside because of the sound. But all of a sudden, boom! Now there's more people.
This is when the other people find the house and want refuge. Okay, that's cool.
No. They've been hiding in the basement the whole time.
They've been in the basement. They've been in the basement.
In the cellar.
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't watched this in 10 years. So.
Yeah, their daughter got bit, and they went into the cellar.
I remember the general movie. It's just details.
Yeah, some of them barred themselves down in the cellar and closed it down. Yeah.
They never focused really on it, PvP. There was one point where Duane is running past the cellar, and you're like, you kind of subliminally be like, oh, there's a cellar, maybe that'll come into play, but like you're not really. It wasn't just like you didn't like focus on the cellar like Chekhov's gun style, right? It's just like it was a passing shot, but
yeah, it takes a while for them to get to that, right, Nemesis?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, forgive me, guys, if I, as those details don't come to mind, but it's probably been a good 10 years since I saw this film, so I remember the general film, the overall story.
Absolutely.
But there are details that I do forget.
You. I will forgive you your Parthian shot.
Yeah.
I will give you that.
Thank you. Anyway, what's the name of this guy? I can't remember this guy's name now. Even if does he even have a name?
I don't think
Jones.
I don't. I believe that his wife and him are not credited, although he is a bit actor for a few years.
Actually, this was his first acting
I don't
performance.
know.
Really, Pop.
If we're talking about the guy that came out of the basement, the bald guy, this was his first acting performance, and he was actually one of the fundraisers of the movie itself.
Really?
He pitched in his own money, yes, and volunteered for the role.
Well, power to him.
Him and Duane Jones, the guy we're looking at now, became very good friends after this, lifelong friends.
Oh.
And when Duane Jones passed away, apparently it was very, very heartbreaking for him.
Yeah. He passed away fairly young, did he not? Like in the 70s or 80s or something?
I think it was in the 90s.
Was it in the 90s? Oh, I guess maybe he wasn't that young, but it was
young enough.
50 something or whatever. I
Really? Really?
Hey, Paul.
Really?
Well, he's a solid actor too.
He is a solid actor, actually.
The balding gentleman, I should say. Well, Duane is good, but
the balding guy that nobody can remember his name is a great character actor. Right, he had been a great character actor for a long time.
Yeah. Now, guys, there's one thing I want to say about this. There was some great back and forth between these two, and I liked even for 1968 there's just two alpha males fighting against each other instead of one trying to just take the lead because
no. That's a good point. Friend there, the bald guy is definitely the beta male. He's the beta male.
The actor's name was Karl Hardman, and the character name is Harry Cooper.
Yeah. Okay, he's a beta male trying to act like an alpha male.
Wait, so Karl, was that? Yeah, okay. Well, no, and it's both of these people have valid points. In their arguments, in their back and forth, they both have valid points. That's the beauty of this conversation, is that they're both right, but they're both wrong.
Ironically, they would have been correct if they had gone into the basement and just stayed there.
That's
the whole thing. If they had just gone into the basement and stayed there, and I'm not going to spoil the scene later on in the movie, but go ahead and then if they had just stayed there in the basement, they'd have all been all right at the end of the movie.
Well, there's only one problem with that. If they stayed in the basement for the rest of the film, it would have been really, really boring.
Well,
that's why we're not talking about stuff that happened off screen because.
My view of this is
sorry.
Well, my view of this was you stay upstairs and you stand your ground, and if you need to, you have a place to fall back to.
Exactly. Excellent point, girl.
Instead of cornering yourself before even trying to defend yourself.
Well, the thing is, if the dead people break into the house, which they eventually will, right, Gorilla? It's inevitable. If you're trapped in the basement, they're going to break the basement door down after maybe a day or two, and then where are you going to go?
You're trapped.
You're done. You're done, right? It's like you might as well just put that shotgun in your mouth and end it quickly, right? You're done. You're done.
That's why, even in the book that Pops keeps bringing up, the Zombie Survival Guide, they were like, yeah, basement is always a death trap. Don't go down there. You're gonna get you can't run. You can tie together bed sheets or some shit. If it doesn't matter. Well, I mean, depending on how high up you are, there's some way you can get out.
Well, I agree. Even if you have to smash a window and escape through a window, at least you have maybe a slight chance of running away and evading the things, right? If you're in the basement, you're done. You're totally dead.
Well, this would be a good time to bring up. This is why I'm a 2A advocate. I think that everybody should have a 1,000-round belt-fed machine gun ready at hand.
I think the RCMP would have a problem with that if I actually acquired one of those, Gorilla.
Me too.
Oh hell!
It might be slightly illegal up here, but okay.
Well, no, ATF wouldn't even give me a courtesy knock. Heck, I might not even get the handcuffs. I'll be like that Utah guy.
Oh God
I
Almighty!
didn't get a chance.
That's so funny.
I think what you would do, Gorilla, is probably build yourself a moat around your house so that they can fall into something and put barbed wire and razor wire down the bottom to impale them.
But once again, therein lies the problem. But they can. If enough of them, just give enough of them. They'll stand on the ones in the hole. They'll build a wall. They'll get up. They'll get in. They're tireless.
Yeah, it's a numbers game, right? It's like mathematics, right, Nemesis? I mean, they're going to win eventually, right? So,
right, like in the dude.
You'd have to find like a castle with a moat, like like we were talking about a minute ago. That's probably the only way you'd have a hope in hell of surviving, actually.
This is where another good point this guy brings up too, that if they lock themselves in the basement, what if a rescue party comes? So this is a very good point as well, a very valid point.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a very well written script. Damn, that's very good dialogue. Her name's what? Patricia.
Yeah.
Somebody's in the backstage or whatever it's called.
Oh, he let himself in, apparently.
Yeah, there he is.
Welcome back, Nemesis.
Welcome back, Nemesis.
Did I leave?
Well, it seems like you did because you just came back.
It may have been StreamYard. It may have been StreamYard popping you in and out, so that happens.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird. Wow.
As long as you came back, that's what's important.
Oh, I will always come back, Pop.
I gotta say, we don't see your lovely image. We see like a nipple.
Lovely. I mean, who doesn't like seeing nipples?
It's that little white circle thingy, right?
It's an avatar, right? It's just a stock avatar.
Yeah, we don't see your avatar, but oh well.
Oh, I can't edit his avatar from here. I can only change the name.
You look like a white nipple, somebody said to me before.
I don't know who came up with that term, but it makes no sense. It's just a stock avatar is all it is, default.
I think it's just people having silly fun, actually, Pop.
Too much time on their hands, I'm guessing.
Maybe I'm one of those people. No, not really. I usually have too much to do.
And of course, this scene is directly redone in Evil Dead.
Yes. Obviously, yes.
Nice.
Wow.
I liked Evil Dead when it first came on, but it kind of got boring after a while.
That looked like a zombie Elvis. Doesn't that kind of remind you of a zombie Elvis, that guy that walked up?
Probably the hairstyle, because it was popular back in the 60s.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Crew cut style at the time. Yeah. Some of these guys look kind of cool. I mean, yeah, he looks like a zombie Elvis.
Elvis would have been pretty popular in 1968, so that's not a bad comment, actually, Mikey.
Yeah.
Kind of makes sense,
Yeah. And you know what's funny, too, is that, and I just noticed it on Pop's cover, that one of them was trying to hold up his knee, because I think he was trying to walk like a zombie, but he's got both his hands on his knee trying to walk. I was like, I thought.
Well, remember, if you have people that are theoretically within canon that are come back to life, they could have physical disabilities that are still going to affect them even though they're zombies.
Oh, right. Exactly.
So if somebody limps when they're alive, they're going to limp when they're a zombie.
Makes sense.
I want to point this scene out without highlighting it. This is another reason, and this is what George Romero said in the commentary on the DVD. This is how they got so many volunteers from the town, is because they heard there was going to be a naked woman. So that's another reason why.
Really? Wow.
Yes.
That's a really good reason. That's a very good reason to get a bunch of men to show up. Yeah.
So half the guys that volunteered to be zombies are basically perverts, is what you're telling us, Bob.
Well, and those that weren't acting, they had people out sitting in lawn chairs watching this.
Oh my goodness!
Sorry, hold on.
That is very
second.
interesting, actually.
Are you not a pervert? Because I guarantee you I am.
So people were actually in lawn chairs watching them film this.
Correct, PvP.
Wow, that's very cool. I never knew that fact. That's awesome.
I was pretty sure that Gorilla
Got a pop somebody in the back room.
His eye on this scene for a while before he moved.
Hey, Nemesis is back with his avatar. Yay!
There we
go. Yay! I'm back. Everybody panic. Thank you.
Yeah, there he is.
Welcome back.
Hello.
Good Cotter call there, PvP.
Thank you. I couldn't resist.
You're
I know
welcome.
I'm silly, but I couldn't resist.
Yeah, that's okay. I understood. I also understood the comment. Yeah. I said I understood the comment.
Life.
Are they getting ready? They're getting ready to run out to the gas station, aren't they? They're running.
Oh yeah, right.
Oh yeah, there's a thing coming up where they try and get out to the vehicle.
No, not yet. No, not even yet. They're arguing that they're trying to. They're arguing about whether or not to go to the basement or come up there. So one guy brings his wife and daughter up.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I thought was very cool, Gorilla? You know what I thought was really cool also about this movie is the fact you made a good comment before about Duane's character being the alpha male and Hardman's Cooper being the beta male. Look what the teenager is in this film. The teenager is us. He's the casual observer. He's trying to follow what's going on and what he needs to do to help out. So I think that's pretty cool. I just, it's a three-sided triangle. 3 different kinds of stories going on at the same time. Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, another testament.
If it was 4-sided, it would be a square.
I'm kind of thinking maybe
or a rectangle.
I'm thinking
Wow.
Romero
Good call. Or a trapezium.
Romero probably
could be a trapezium, and nobody would ever even know because they're looking for squares and triangles.
When Romero was writing his script, I'm thinking he must have had it at least in the back of his mind to include as many different types of personalities in the people in the house, so that more people in the audience could pick out one of them to relate to, right?
Yes.
Wouldn't that make sense? Yeah.
Yep. Yes. Which you would not get these days. They'd all be almost like copies of each other, like faxes.
They'd be cookie cutter.
Oh no, it's all yeah.
Cookie cutter,
it's all fetch quests and silly numerology stuff. It's all fetch quests.
Well, and Friday the 13th is one of the series that really pushed that. It's where it got to where the audiences just couldn't wait to see if everybody died, who dies first, and hurry up and die, and all that kind of stuff.
And who survives at the end?
That's boring. If you know everybody's going to die before you even pay your money to walk into the theater, it's like, what's the point, right?
Yep.
If it becomes formulaic, there's a reason they call it formulaic.
Yeah, because it's a formula.
Well, especially
when
what?
It can be done well, right? Like,
anyway,
are you sure?
The little girl here is ill.
The key to everything.
Right?
Yeah, she
I can't remember what her illness is, but
she is, after all, the bestest ever.
And the wife has some sense.
No, she's the little girl is a fantastic actress, and we'll get to see potentially, maybe.
Yeah, I can't
No
remember.
spoilers.
She's ill.
We're not going into spoiler here, no.
Right? Like she's not well, obviously.
Don't bother Pops with what the future may hold.
They
No. We just don't want to. It's an amazing scene, and I don't want to spoil it. We'll get to it when we get to it.
I'm just thinking, though. Did they not mention the radio here? So there is the radio upstairs, and I think that does come into it towards the end.
It's the television.
The radio and food.
Yeah,
it's the television as well, and it comes into play in this next scene.
And the food as well. That's a big thing.
Yes.
Oh my goodness, did you tip me over? Hi.
And the daughter is, I mean, the young sister laying there is a big deal later.
Yeah, she is. I'm excited for it.
Oops, I gotta mute my phone. Sorry, guys.
I still like it. It's Star Trek.
I gotta say, I do love Pop's phone sound. That's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, the communicator.
You guys are gonna.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
You guys are gonna start messing with me and messing with him because I'm gonna start. I'm gonna start chatting with him, like Did you say that the zombies don't exist in this movie? No.
Yeah, it's funny. That was a Twitter. That was a Twitter notification letting me know that somebody named Living Dead Ned is now following me. How do you like that? Huh? So
awesome.
There you go.
Synchronicity.
Naturally.
Yep. Good thing I promoted it.
You're picking up zombie fans there, Pop.
Now I got a question. I got a question for everybody. When they heard that she was sick there, and they weren't mentioning what she was sick with, did anybody else kind of figure out what it was right away, or did you not guess that?
I did.
What, the daughter?
No, I did right away.
Everybody
I already knew, but I'm not going to say. But yes. I knew
oh yeah,
right away.
For sure.
I can't remember. Yeah. It's been too long since I watched it, but oh well.
The mother does mention it.
No, the mother and the father both do not mention it. You are correct.
Yeah, they didn't mention it until later on.
Right.
Yes.
When it all went out of control.
Well,
she's just glad to be out of that cellar.
Actually in control. Every time I see a zombie show now, and this includes Atlantis through the BBC. You can watch it on Hulu. Anyway, it still comes to the same thing. The zombies are okay. They still got some of their human body, but they're completely falling apart, and it's like, okay, seriously, what am I supposed to do with this?
I think that Pop made a good point earlier when he said that a good zombie movie is where you don't make zombies just mindless automatons like they're walking around like robots. You want them to adapt. You want them to evolve, and those are the most effective ones to me. Is the ones that adapt and evolve, and can start to think for themselves and how to attack humans. And yeah.
So in other words, you don't want Twitter zombies.
No, you don't want Twitter zombies. Yeah, that's it. Well,
that is correct.
There's a lot of zombies on Twitter. I agree, Gorilla.
Well, another thing that really that helps the future movies is when they're in various stages of decomposition. So I'll be covering that when we cover the movie Zombie.
Yeah, that's very good.
Because especially when they come out of the grave, like in Return of the Living Dead, the whole point is to show them in different stages of decomposition.
Right. Get the goddamn screwdriver out of my head.
That's the genius of Savini is how he was able to make adaptive makeup like that, and then later on others that followed after him. So yes.
Talking about intelligent zombies that can learn, though. That brings once again the old Vincent Price, the Last Man on Earth.
Last Man on Earth, yeah.
And it's like the zombies in that definitely learn because they're actually even taunting him and talking to him through parts of the movie, right?
Well, in the original I Am Legend,
I mean, you don't even have to go.
What's that,
you
Pop?
don't even have to go as far back as that. You only have to go as far back as Omega Man.
Well, actually, Last Man on Earth was a couple of decades before Omega Man, but
right. But
yeah,
Omega
well,
Man
about a
is
decade,
the same,
about a decade,
yeah.
60s and 70s. But but I want to point out is in the novel by Richard Matheson, or the novella by Richard Matheson of I Am Legend, they actually did talk. They would stand outside and taunt him, say, "Come out, Neville! Come out, Neville!" Because his name was Robert
exactly.
Neville. And there was a
They
zombie.
did that in,
Yeah.
They did
That's
that
there
why
was
in
a zombie.
Omega Man.
Right, there was also a zombie female who would lift up her leg and spread her legs apart, trying to taunt him to come outside. That's something that you'll only see in
I
that
don't remember that part.
What movie was that?
That wasn't
That's
in the
the book.
movie, was it?
That's in the
No,
story. I
it
Am
wasn't
Legend.
in Omega Man, and I don't recall it in anything that Vincent Price was in.
That was only in the I Am Legend story.
Hey,
Well,
gentlemen,
Hey, Jill.
Oh, there's the novella.
Jill is in the
Okay.
chat also. Yeah,
Yeah, hey, Jill.
The thing is, though,
Hello, Joe. Good to see you. I hope you didn't hear what I just said.
Oh, she
the
heard
thing
you.
is, in the Vincent Price film, the zombies were they were like zombies, right? They were definitely zombies because they were slow moving.
They were, but they only
plotting.
came out at night.
But in the Omega Man in the 70s with Charlton Heston, the zombies were they were more like vampires because I remember they could move much more quickly. They didn't seem to be as slow moving. They definitely were intelligent because they were totally plotting. So they weren't just like mindless zombies. They weren't even zombies. They were more like vampires that would come out at night and try to get into his lair at the the high rise building
at the compound.
was in.
At the compound. Yeah.
Yeah, and that was cool.
No,
his
he didn't have a
was so cool.
compound. It was just a brownstone that
I
he
love
had
that
lights
film, though.
rigged up.
True story.
I saw Mega Man in the theaters, and it was absolutely kick-ass, guys.
I wanted to point out, I read Charlton Heston's book called In the Arena.
Yeah.
And in that, he covers behind the scenes of every movie he made. And when he mentions the Omega Man, they wanted to try to make it a little bit more of action, but he wanted to separate from the Vincent Price version. So that's the reason why it turned out we see more guns shooting, guns blazing, and him marching around town with that gun and all that. Charlton. So in a way, it was kind of a detriment to the movie because it was not really a horror movie. It's not really scary per se. But Charlton Heston had say in every script that he did. So for good or better or worse, I guess you could say, that's why the Omega Man is what it is. Because he wanted to make sure that he separated it as far from the Last Man on Earth as possible. He didn't want to redo it word for word or scene for scene.
I mean, that makes sense because
I still enjoyed it. I thought it was a fun film.
Gotta say, Pop, I think you should do, if you haven't done it yet, do Soylent Green. Do Soylent Green with Charles.
Oh, I do. Charlton Heston is my favorite actor. I want to cover many of his movies. Planet of the Apes, a lot of them, yes.
Yeah, Soylent Green is an awesome film. Great psychological.
Yes, it is.
Well, we all know that Soylent Green is people, so
yeah, we do.
All the suspense is gone.
And we're almost getting to that now. Yeah, even though it took place, I think it took place in 2022 or 23.
2022 in New York City, and apparently New York City have 40 million people.
That was the genius of Gene Roddenberry, right? Was putting Star Trek like a couple centuries away from where we are now. Like, that's the way to go, Gene, because all these people that do a sci-fi story that's like 30 or 40 years, in the future, it's like, guess what, guys? You look kind of silly after a while.
Yeah, Pop. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't George Romero actually did a cameo in this film, but it was uncredited?
Yes. Very small, yes.
Yeah, very small part.
And I want to point out, if you guys, like what Gorilla brought up about the mass amount of people in Soylent Green, look at that influx of illegal aliens that are going into New York right now. So it almost actually, in a way, kind of predicted the future.
I think so.
Well, that's because they don't have the authority to deal with it in Texas, so they said, "Fuck it, let's just send it to the people that are encouraging it."
That voted for it, exactly.
Right.
Like
so
Mark
one of the
is
things
saying,
about this, yeah. So one of the things about this film that we've like completely glossed over in this entire context of other movies, they're breaking down how the zombies actually came to be in this scene, and I kind of really hate it.
Yeah, and
What's that?
outside space rocks that fell to Earth and made
No. What it
come back
was
to
is they
life.
sent we sent a probe to Venus.
Yep, to Venus.
And on its way back, they detected it had some unusual radiation on it. So apparently they detonated it, but yet somehow this radiation made it back to Earth.
Radiation. Yeah.
Yes.
That's what I remember. It was radiation from some space thing. Yeah.
Well, it was the 60s. If it had been 10 years earlier, it would have been something atomic.
Exactly.
You are aware that radiation is atomic, right?
Well,
yes,
right,
it is.
Without mentioning the word atomic, it's atomic. Was
yeah, well, they would have been talking about atomic stuff, atomic till your ears fell off. If it was a 50s film.
Yeah, in fact, there's George Romero.
Well, where?
Here's where we get the cameo here.
I missed him. I missed him.
I believe this is where he's one of those men, if I remember right.
You see the guy
But
with
maybe
the tie?
him.
Yeah, he's the guy with the tie.
I could be wrong.
He looks kind of. I think that might be him with the tie. Yeah.
And it is. I believe that's him with the tie on the right hand side.
Yeah, right there.
Yeah,
on the right
that's
hand
very
side.
cool.
There he is. Yay!
Oh, the phenomenon.
There he is. Yes, that's it.
Well, he's doing his Hitchcock moment, right, guys?
Yeah, we just talked about Psycho earlier, and they showed that part where Hitchcock walks out there with his dogs. You know, that's obviously
every
him.
movie. Well, he was
every movie, I believe. Yeah, he's always making a cameo.
Lifeboat, right? Of all movies, even Lifeboat, he did a cameo in, which took place entirely on a boat.
Yeah.
Well, and talking about special effects that are inspired by Hitchcock, once again, getting close to my favorite scene. We'll talk about it when we get there, but chocolate syrup, man, it's the thing.
All right, should we catch up on chat real quick?
Good call.
Yeah, go for it, Gorilla.
All right, Suzanne said, "Wow, that was nasty, choppy robot." That was a while ago, though. Then Mikey said, "Robot chatting definitely Miss Suzanne." This is where Jill says hi. Mikey says, "Hello, Miss Jill." Mr. CDV says, "Hey, Jill." No, of course not. Ha ha ha. Mostly, she got mostly what you said there. There, Pop. Then Jill says, "Hello, Mikey and CDV." And PvP says, "Jill, hi." And oops. And then Jill says, "Hi,
yeah,
Jill."
I screwed up there. Some weird auto typing crap.
Jill says hi to PvP. Then PvP says, gives a thumbs up. I see where I rank. Jill. I don't get a hello, even though I was the first one to say hi. But
I didn't get one either. But don't feel bad. Well, I mean, you can feel bad, but
this is another great channel for spoiler-free reviews. The PvP's channel for all your rock and roll needs. Then,
check it out; it's good stuff.
And Peter Not Fitting is giving us popcorn.
Thank you.
All right.
Damn! Now I'm getting hungry. Damn. Well, that's not a good scenario. Sick child, 2 women, 1 woman out of her head. Nah, it doesn't sound like a winning combination there.
Yeah, I kind of want to be locked up in the basement still.
Oh, it's not looking good for our heroes, is it?
See, this is what I miss is age. You have different. Not only you have different characters, but you have different age ranges. They do not make movies like this anymore. They've all got to be a bunch of teenagers in their or early 20s, and it's just it's so old now and predictable. It's terrible.
Yeah, it sucks. It's like I get so pissed off when I see films and TV series that totally, do not respect age and the wisdom that is acquired through it. and they
Yep.
never write an intelligent older character that's capable, and effective at doing something they can do. It's always like, oh, you got to be like 18 and be a Mary Sue and be perfect. And it's like, that's bullshit. Because when I was 18, I was a complete moron. I didn't know nothing about nothing when I was 18. It's like,
Yep.
come on, get real, guys.
Double
Get
negative.
real. It's called life experience, writers.
Yeah, but you thought you knew everything at 18, didn't you? Because I know I
You
sure
always
did.
do. Yes. Right.
Yeah.
But you graduated from college, you know.
I did.
And go ahead and do your screenwriting thing from college.
Yeah.
That is where you learned it from.
Yeah. I can tell you how moronic 18-year-olds are, because I was one, and I voted for Obama. That shows you how moronic we are.
Shame. Oh.
I apologize to everybody for that one.
All right. We forgive you.
I learned my lesson in 2016.
But yeah, that's why the human
We all make mistakes, buddy. Oh, sorry, PvP.
No worries, Nemesis. I was just going to quickly say that's why the human race keeps repeating this endless cycle of making mistakes and stupidity, right? Because every generation they start off young and dumb. You're born, you have absolutely nothing in your head, you have no thoughts, no ideas. Slowly you learn. By the time maybe you're a teenager, you're starting to get some wisdom. Maybe in your 20s, you're getting a little more, and you actually have set a path for your life. But usually I think I was probably in my 30s somewhere before I actually started to get my shit half together. It takes a while.
But here's where he's
Back to our
volunteering to
movie.
take that truck. Right. And then here's where they're talking about taking the truck outside and putting some gas in it and maybe seeing if they can escape.
This is fun. This is a good scene. This is a good scene.
And I think that's probably why Duane's character likes to talk to the younger teenager that rather than Hardman, because Hardman just has the ineptness.
I love how his name is Hardman. Like, is that appropriate or what?
Well, what's good about this is they've gotten past their differences, and this is where they're starting to work together, which is what
Isn't
they
it
needed in the first
Heinzman?
place.
Isn't his last name Heinzman, not Hartman?
I
No,
thought
it's
somebody
Hardman.
said it was Hardman.
Karl Hardman. Yeah.
Karl Hardman in real life.
Okay.
And the character's name is Harry Cooper.
Harry Trooper? Gee, there's some interesting names.
Cooper.
Oh, Cooper. Okay, sorry.
Yeah. Harry Cooper.
Uh-oh. Mikey, you're roboting.
Oh. And Jill says, hello, Gorilla and Nemesis.
Good to see you, Jill.
Hi, Jill.
See, you guilted Jill out, and now she's had to say hi.
Yeah, hey, there's one thing I'm good at is guilt trips.
I just rely on Gorilla's cute giggle to slide in there and get it too. So
Hey, that's why I get away with half the crap. That's how I get away with half the crap I say. Just throw it.
Oh, I know.
And laughing at the end of it.
It doesn't hurt to have an engaging laugh, definitely, Gorilla. You can sometimes get away with some pretty weird shit.
That's how I got away with my comment at the beginning of the movie there.
That was that's what my wife said about Gorilla's laugh, is that I adapted it for Gorilla, and she thinks it's a little irritating. And I said, well, I can't help that. I just Gorilla laughs, and I think some of it's funny, like when we were watching the Sunday cinema, and go and stuff like that. So I think it's funny. It's a funny laugh. That's all.
It's an innocent, disarming laugh, which is unexpected to come from Gorilla. So I think that's why it works.
It does work.
You're just like, oh. Anyways.
Yeah,
I enjoy Gorilla. Gorilla's a fun guy. I enjoy hanging out with Gorilla.
Oh, I love Gorilla.
As do I.
He's hilarious.
At some point, we lost Captain Infinity.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Maybe
he's down in the chat.
maybe
we
he
lost
got
Mr.
bored.
CCTV. We lost Mr. CCTV also.
Oh, we lost
Oh,
him
well.
too? Oh, wow.
It's that time of
I hope
night,
you
I
guys
guess.
can
It is
come
getting
back.
a little bit later here, so.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
11 o'clock. We still got half an hour left.
How much you guys
Trying
want
to
to
get
bet
through
a
this.
dollar
Sorry, guys.
that Captain Fendy's doing his own live stream right now?
Oh,
He does tend to do that, right? I've noticed at times. It's pretty funny, actually.
by the way, this house did not have a cellar. All it had, basically, it's similar to like the Evil Dead. They had to shoot the cellar scene in a completely different location. It was
Right.
done in the editing room of the studio.
Cool.
Yeah, well, I think it did. Didn't it? It did have a cellar, but it was too small. So they
Right, it
had
was
to. You're
like a-
right, though. They had to film it in a different location.
Great.
Yes.
I never knew that.
They actually fixed up the kitchen in this house too, and they used the kitchen to cook food for all the cast and crew.
Awesome.
Right, they
Wow.
figured it would help morale if the kitchen was the first place they fixed, so people would have a place to eat.
Makes sense.
Man, another innovation of low budget filmmaking.
Well, they use the same houses. Most if you watch most of these zombie films, they usually will use the same kind of abandoned buildings in the same movies. Well, for example, there was a movie that we own called the cabin in the woods, and what happened was they used the same Evil Dead house that was used by Bruce Campbell in the first Evil Dead, and used it as
I
their
think you'll find
cabin.
that to be inaccurate.
Yeah. Dad. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Pop.
believe me, Evil Dead. I read the Evil Dead Companion, written by them, and it was definitely not the same cabin.
Oh, it wasn't the same cabin? Okay, Paul. I wasn't sure. But thank you for
You're not even
clarifying.
No, in
allowed.
fact, what happened was the original cabin was eventually caught on fire and burned, but fans did locate it, and the only thing left was the fireplace, and the fans slowly picked it apart, rock by rock by rock, until there was nothing
Really?
left.
That's weird.
People are awful. And they're like, one rock won't hurt. And like when after 80 people did that, there's nothing left. And you're just like, oh, fuck.
Yes.
Seriously, that's a bit weird though. Like, who needs a brick out of a fireplace
Dude, it's the brick out of the fireplace from the Evil Dead. Like,
Yeah,
you do it?
Evil Dead.
Still, it's kind of like let's put it this way: I'm not driving all that way just to get a brick.
People would though, PvP. Like they used to have a dude. They had to hire a dude with a shotgun to sit out there and be like, "You're not allowed on the property. Like, get out of here.
Wow.
Like, get off my property."
Yeah, well, it must have belonged to somebody in real life, right? So yeah.
Well,
Yes.
it must have been passed on. Yeah. It was passed
And
on.
if anyone wants to check out that movie, we did a review of it earlier. So definitely check out that stream.
That was many months
Absolutely.
ago. Wow.
Yeah, that was lots of months ago.
Many months, it's many blue months ago.
That fucking giggle, god damn it, Gorilla.
I love this scene though. This is probably one of the more exciting scenes in the movie. Do you think, guys?
Oh,
like,
definitely.
Yeah, oh, for sure.
like the suspense here is just like pretty awesome, really.
And my one complaint about it that once again we didn't get to hear because we're not allowed sound is the soundtrack. It's overwhelming to me. It's too much.
Yes.
Well,
Yeah,
what
I wish I
like
could
about
play
it,
some of the
Nemesis-
audio.
Yeah, but what I like about these scenes, especially, is the spacing. Again, like I said, I appreciated the zombie movements because they looked real, they looked naturalistic, and you could see how they were spacing. The spacing is perfect. Like, I mean, you look like they look like a horde that's coming after you. It's like an endless wave,
Exactly.
of
Right.
natural disaster. It's
That's
so
what makes
great.
it so scary. It's like they're just going to keep coming no matter what you do, right, Mikey?
Exactly. Well, not only that, but you don't even know how many are going to keep coming. You're just like, oh my God. Well, and you were talking about the spatial movements of the zombies, Mikey, and like, once again, I'm bringing up The Walking Dead from the 1930s with Boris Karloff. They're thinking that could have been inspired by at least the very main zombie, the first one we see at the very beginning, the one who kills the brother, he was Johnny. Yeah, he was talking about how he may have been inspired by Boris Karloff, allegedly.
Oh, for sure.
But one of the things that we don't get to see, sorry, PvP, is the spatial movement of the camera itself too, right? Like all of these scenes flow really well. The camera direction, the movement from right to left, the zombies from right to left. Like it's once again, if you somehow haven't watched this movie, watch this movie. Like it's
the continuity is spot on. That is what I love mostly about movies. If they can follow a great continuity like this one does, it's just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
There's been a couple shots where like the eye lines don't move up or match up between the characters when they're talking, and you're just like, oh, like that scene where the girl was talking on to Barbara when she was eating the doily on the couch, and Barbara's almost looking at the camera, but the girl's looking like stage left, and you're just like, okay, that's but
that's just minor. But that's minor. I mean,
exactly, super minor.
Like that. That's super minor. The rest of it is just perfect flow, and it's like, and because you see all these people coming, and they're coming out of the darkness. You don't even know how many are coming. You're just like you're freaking out, and the reactions are spot on. They're perfect. I love it. I love it. It's just great.
And once again, this scene here with the fire comes back to Frankenstein. Fire bad. Seems to scare the zombies away. And here's this dick, and he's just like, "Oh my God, let us in!" He's like, "No," and he fucking closed the door on him. And I'm like, "Oh, what an asshole!"
That was kind of bad. Actually,
that looked like I'm gonna. Wait till I get my hands on you, right?
Dude, I'd be chapped. I'd be so freaking furious. I'd be like, "You mother!" Like, oh man. And it's funny because I've heard different takes about what happens after they get this, like we're about to see. But I think it was justified because people are like, "Well, why would he hit him?" And I'm just like, "Wouldn't you?" I'd like,
I'd hit him. Get your ass moving, dude. Seriously, like, don't act like a total moron and just stand there and not do anything.
Yeah, exactly.
And this is what I was missing last night. Right here. Just one good punch in the face. That's all I asked for.
Right.
Well, it's like, why would he not hit him? It's like he totally deserves to be hit because he's a jackass, right?
Well, he locked him out of the house. He's just like, "No, fuck you." Boop. I'm just like, bro. Like, I mean, it's one thing if he was like super scared and kind of just like shut the door and ran away, which I mean, he kind of did, but he didn't seem like terrified like Barbara was. He seemed more like
The thing is, if our Duane Jones guy had got eaten or something, then I could have totally understood him locking the door, right? Because it's like, well, that's over. But, if your guy has a half chance of survival, you let him back in the house, right? You don't lock the door.
You would think so.
Wait, they started the truck on fire?
Yeah,
they exploded.
Yeah.
It was an accident. It was an accident.
Right?
They spilled gas on the truck, and then the torch caught on fire. So it was an accident. It wasn't intentional.
So, Pop, I can't remember. Is this the scene where the teenager dies?
Oh, he blew up in the truck with his girlfriend.
Yeah, right. Like,
right.
Yes.
This is the scene where the town barbecue.
Right.
Yeah, and this is where, or maybe it's not this scene, but this is one of the where we get to start seeing gore for the first time on film.
Yes.
Well, maybe not for the first time on film, but
she's eating a bone. Wow, she's eating a bone.
Okay, this is
there we go.
Yeah, this is probably for me one of the most disturbing scenes in the whole film.
Of course,
yummy.
Because it's like, are these extras actually eating raw flesh?
Well, no. Let me explain what's going on here. When you see them take bites, like in that last shot, it was ham covered in chocolate syrup.
Yeah.
Okay.
A la Hitchcock, because chocolate syrup looks like blood in black and white.
Yeah.
In black and white, exactly. And for the rest of the stuff...
Guts. It looks like guts and stuff, and it really grossed me out.
Well, for those scenes, like when you saw the intestines, they got them from a local butcher shop. Because a butcher was one of the guys that financed the movie.
But they weren't actually eating any intestines.
Yeah, that's what we
No,
talked
of course
about
not.
earlier, right, Pop? Was they went that's what we talked about earlier, Pop, right? Was they went to the local meat plants and Romero said, "Hey, we could use, for some
No,
props.
one of
You guys have any leftover
the
meat
guys
that
who
might?"
funded the movie was a
Yeah,
butcher. One of the guy who funded the movie was a butcher, so
yeah,
he
that's
brought
right,
the.
that's right, that's
They
right.
didn't go around. Yeah, they didn't go around a bunch of
He
butcher
brought the meat.
shops.
Yeah,
Well, we'll continue.
yeah, they went to a local
So,
one.
so,
Yeah,
so clarify again what they were actually eating.
Ham
they
covered.
weren't. Oh,
If it went in their mouth, it was ham and chocolate syrup.
So it was like
If it was
it was
chocolate
processed
syrup.
ham that was safe to eat then.
right,
yes.
and if and the
Okay.
rest is the
Yeah,
rest
oh
were
yeah,
props.
Yeah,
George Romero.
right.
I enjoy a good ham sandwich myself, so that's cool.
Well, George Romero often used animal guts. In Day of the Dead, they said that the stench. Same thing with Texas Chainsaw Massacre. The stench got so high on the set that people would get sick.
Ouch. That's not
Add
good.
to the authenticity.
Yes, definitely.
He's pig
Oh, brother.
intestines, I thought, in one movie.
Well, I'm glad it was just ham covered in chocolate. That makes me feel better.
No, they weren't eating actual flesh. PvP. Like, I'm sorry, the actors weren't that hardcore.
I didn't think they would be, but it always puzzled me because it looked so believable, right, Nemesis? It looked so realistic. It's like it grossed me out when I first saw
That's a
the film.
testament to the good editing.
Oh yeah,
And like I said, your mind fills in the blanks.
I guess.
Yes.
Yeah.
There is one scene where we get to see, or maybe we've skipped past it. I don't know. It's very brief. There's a female zombie, and she like pokes her head around a tree, and there's a bug, and she like puts the bug in her mouth, and that's a real bug. She does that for actual real.
Oh my god!
Yes, and I did show that. I showed the actual video. I did show the video of that.
So we had a woman actually eat a real bug.
That. Yeah.
Yes, that was a very iconic scene. That's why I made sure to highlight it.
Okay, now I am grossed out. Sorry, guys.
You're welcome.
Was that bug a cockroach? It looked like a cockroach.
Oh no!
It's bigger than that, I think.
So much.
It could have been. They climbed up the side of trees.
It looked like about the size of a praying mantis. It looked bigger than a cockroach.
Praying mantis. Oh yeah.
I'm not really sure which bug, but it was bigger than a cockroach.
I should have brought a bucket. I should have brought a bucket to the stream tonight.
Oh, it's not that bad.
It's not that bad.
No, I've dealt with worse, but I've never eaten a bug. So.
Oh, I have. It's fine. So is this the scene with the naked zombie? No, there's not. Nom.
Oh, there's some naked booty there. Some naked booty.
Right.
Well, they showed it.
I don't see. Hey, I didn't see naked booty. I just seen two topless fat guys.
You need to go back. You need to go back a bit because there was definitely some naked butt there about 10 seconds ago, Grilla.
Oh, I just seen the naked fat guys. So.
No, there wasn't. There was
some female naked butt there.
Yeah, no, there was a full woman who showed her whole back and her butt.
Right. I can't dwell on it because it's YouTube. I don't want to get stricken.
No,
I try to skip through those. Sorry, guys.
She showed her butt for artistic reasons, as women have through the centuries when they're getting painted or whatever.
And you got a bunch of rednecks out.
Art form. Yeah, the natural body is an art form. That's
well. I used to when I was at art school. I used to take life drawing classes, Mikey, and we'd have naked people of both genders that we'd be drawing, right? And sometimes you get quite an attractive woman with a naked butt, and I didn't mind, drawing it, but it was like you don't think of them as naked; you think of them as nude. If you get the difference, because if you're being artistic, you're there to draw the human form. You're not there to like ogle, right? So it is a difference. Right.
But I think they're trying to be brave. Well, I just think that when you have a lot of nudity, I guess you could say it, like in horror films, you have to think about the person too. Like, were they brave enough to say, let the director show me, in my true form, without clothes on and stuff. or were they just frightened by it and they just use a stand-in, a stand-in double or a stunt double, things like that.
Right.
So.
I think it all depends on the context of how it's done. It's like if the actors are good with doing a nude scene, then fine. I have no problem with that. If they don't, and they want a double, that's fine too. Like, I think it's totally depends on the context. Now, the one thing I don't like, if the nudity is gratuitous and doesn't have anything to do with the story, then I think that's kind of cheesy, personally. That's just me. But I think if it has some context to maybe enhance the storyline, then I'm okay with it.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm for sure with that one,
that's a good
PvP.
point. Yeah,
Well,
I'm
thank you,
definitely with you
Nemesis.
on that. Yeah, definitely PvP.
Yeah, well, I just thought having the naked zombie was kind of like, well, sometimes when people are dead, they don't actually have any clothes on, So maybe she was.
Well, how many people got
breaks
caught in the shower or some shit, right? Like,
Well,
Yeah.
maybe she was in the morgue. Maybe she was in the morgue and they'd stripped her clothes off and they were ready to put her, slide her into the, the thing in the morgue, and she revived before they could, Like,
well, that brings up a good point, PvP, because on one of the radio broadcasts, they're talking about how at the university they had a cadaver with all of its limbs cut off.
ooh.
And
And it
its
came to
torso
life.
section it came to life and it started moving and whatnot. And they're like, this thing was definitely dead and now it's alive.
Nice.
So the point of a woman rising from the morgue, being naked, yeah, for sure, that could totally happen. And it just adds to the realism of the movie in the context that we've been provided.
Because I would
That's
think,
why they. That's
when
why they started bombing people.
die.
They used to.
Go ahead, Bob.
I was going to say that's why they started bombing people, because they used to bury them. That's where the story premature burial came from, Edgar Allan Poe.
Oh God!
Back when people would be. Remember now, they used to hold mirrors up to their mouths to look for steam and things like that. It's even before they knew how to check a pulse. So they would assume when people were like in a coma, or they were just totally out of it. Sometimes they were very prematurely. So that was one of the reasons why they started bombing people.
Is there any
and I'm sure you guys have heard.
Well, I've heard the story of.
Let me finish. That's why they also started burying people. Some people requested to have a string attached to a bell up above the grave in case they woke up. George Washington himself had himself buried with a handgun in case he woke up inside the ground.
That's what I remember. I wanted to ask you, Pop, is I do remember reading that some people would be buried with a bell on a string so they could sound an alarm if they woke up in the coffin, right?
Yep.
And I guess
George Washington was buried with a pistol.
Yeah, he was hardcore though. He just had the pistol to blow his brains out, I'm guessing, right?
Yes. Uh-huh.
Wow, what a guy. Wow, I got to respect that.
Well,
that was one of the reasons. I mean, and bombing is obviously to help preserve the body, but it was also to make sure people were dead.
Yeah. Well, I plan to be cremated anyway when I'm gone, so I don't think I have to worry too much about that.
Well, they'll still embalm you before they cremate you.
Oh, I'm okay with that. It's not like I'm going to give a crap once I'm dead, right?
Hey, I don't know if you guys remember, but people used to smoke that stuff. It was called Sherm and Sherl. They would take joints or cigarettes and dip them in embalming fluid and smoke them.
Oh, Jesus.
Yes,
that doesn't sound healthy.
No.
You had a really nice frame of a zombie looking in there, Pop, with his eyes fucking looking all intense. That was really good.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
And of course, the coward, panics to get and just stands there.
Yeah.
Yeah, for a hard man, he's kind of gone soft.
And all he's thinking about is using the gun against the good guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's wrong with this dude? It's like, hey, dude, snap out of it.
Well, it's what's funny.
Of course, Helen knows what's going on.
Oh, of course.
Somebody get a hammer and some nails, for crying out loud.
Yeah,
this is like
what's funny. Oh yeah, go ahead, Pop. Sorry.
I was just gonna say this is like the redneck from Evil Dead 2. Guess who's in charge now?
Yeah.
Yeah,
an
idiot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I was just going to say too, what's great, and I believe Nemesis and Pop, you also agree, that Romero didn't have to give much direction. He just let a lot of it go, and that's why it made the movie so great and the scene so great is because a lot of it could be improvised. And he said, "Great, if you want to throw something in there, do it." And that's why he was so encouraging about it. It was just wonderful, just the way that
Yeah,
it
and they
it
also
was.
yeah, and
Yeah.
they also didn't have the time or money for it to take 1,000 takes. I mean, Hitchcock was a master, but he was obsessed with getting like 100 takes on many, many scenes because he had plenty of money and time to spare. But with these low budget movies, they shot these things in a few days, and they didn't have a lot of money for film, so they had to really, really do well on the acting, which is another highlight of these low budget movies where you really got to work. And like I said,
Well,
none
that's
of these
good.
people were professional
That
actors.
Yeah, good. That's a good point about the film stock, Pop, because they would have had a very limited amount of film to put in the cameras, right? Because I imagine that would have been one of the more costly aspects of producing a film back then, is the film
Absolutely.
stock. So you better
Oh,
get
of course.
everything in like one or two
Yeah.
takes, or you're kind of done for, right? So yeah, totally makes sense. Totally.
Which makes the background, when you talk about whenever, like, I've been in a movie and in a TV series episode, and they say background, right? You better get it right the first time, because if you don't get it right, then they have to reset the entire atmosphere and everything else, and that just takes
Okay,
more time. Yeah.
so I'm gonna interrupt you guys here for this scene's pretty important because like he's starting to turn into a zombie, right? And he's
Oh no.
gone into the basement, and there's his sick daughter who's asleep,
Yeah.
and the
When
implication is that he's gonna eat her.
when the heck did he get bit? I must have missed something.
He was shot.
Right? He wasn't bitten. He's just as soon as you die, you turn into a zombie at some point. They haven't established how quickly it happens, but
Oh, he got shot. Oh, okay.
in the
Right.
Right. And
tussle
I want
with
to
Right.
right. And I want to
Okay.
point out too, the
I
reason
got
why
it now.
Barbara is doing this, right, and the reason why Barbara is doing this is because she sees Johnny out there, and she points him out. She said, "That's Johnny," and so
and she
Johnny's
loses.
the one that
Yeah.
pulls her out.
Oh
My
God.
yeah, my wife just
Well, because
told
it's
me
not.
that. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's not just Johnny, but the original zombie from the graveyard who killed Johnny is also there too. He shows up again,
Yes.
and
Yep.
he's in this
Yeah.
scene.
Oh, yeah, that's
And this
nasty.
scene
Oh yeah, there's
totally
the
shocked
daughter.
audiences. Here's another
Ah,
scene that really shocked the audiences. And the
one of my
sound,
favorites.
when you watch it with the
This is
reverberation and the
good.
echo, it's fantastic. And the shadow, like I said, it leaves your imagination to what happens because you don't actually see the impact on camera.
Oh, there
Right,
she
but
is.
like,
Yeah.
here we
Wow.
go. Here we go. Oh my God! Woo! With the
Yeah.
garden trowel, here she's going.
Oh,
And once
Very
again, a
cool.
smart
very.
zombie coming in. Like I'm sure. I mean, I kind of wouldn't just lay here and let my child stab me to death. But I mean,
No, I definitely
the
wouldn't.
look of horror on her face, and I mean,
Oh,
boom, boom, and
that's
that's chocolate syrup,
Oh,
of course, being sprayed everywhere.
yeah.
And as
Obviously,
Pop
the
was
chocolate
saying,
syrup. Yeah.
with just the shadow and the lighting coming down, it's the implication. Like you're not actually nowadays we'd have some sort of visual effect, whether it be
Impact.
digital or
Yes.
not, and it would be it'd be gratuitous, right? It's to shock the people, but you didn't need so much to shock people back in the day, right? Like this was enough.
No.
The implication is enough of a child killing her mother with a garden trowel who's a zombie.
Yes.
and the
It was
father
totally
too.
unheard of at the time. Yes.
And she killed the father too. So that's
Yep.
that's pretty intense.
Yeah.
Well, she's eating the father when
Right. There's a zombie from the beginning that you mentioned there, Nemesis.
Well, yeah. I mean, she's basically taking a big chunk out of her father and chowing down, and then mother comes along. He's like, "Oh,
There's Johnny.
I know.
there's
Yeah,
Johnny.
Here's
Yay!
There's
Johnny.
Johnny.
He's
Yeah,
coming to get you,
where did Johnny
Barbara.
come from? No, no,
Barbara,
Johnny.
I'm coming to get you, Barbara." Yeah, I love that. That was probably one of my favorite lines in the film at the first scene in the cemetery when he goes
Oh
like,
man.
"They're coming to get you, Barbara." I love that line.
I know.
For sure.
It sets the tone for the entire film, does it not? Really, guys? Like,
It really
seriously.
does, and
That
the
girl is
daughter,
creepy as hell.
Oh, dude, she's amazing. Like, for her few scenes that she gets, she doesn't have any dialogue. It's just some eyeshadow underneath and some frizzled hair, and she nails it.
Totally,
it's
absolutely.
an iconic. It's definitely an iconic scene. It's like
now she's attacking our guy.
Like the psycho shower scene was iconic. Well,
so the house is totally overran at this point.
Was iconic. Yeah.
Well, you know what's really disturbing too is you got like a 12-year-old girl, murdering all these people. It's like that's really kind of grotesque and scary. Like, really, that is horrifying, really.
Right? Like
we think of somebody that age as being, sweet and innocent, right? And it's like she's like anything but since she's been zombified. So yeah.
And the basement reinforcement. That is an actually ingenious way of blocking and barricading yourself. I have to say, because but him being down there and and we all know what might happen. Yeah. So. Yeah. Oh. Yep.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta put a bullet in his head. Is that usually the way it was, Pop? Putting a bullet in your head or chopping their head off or whatever?
I think it's usually
this is the first movie to establish you have to destroy the brain.
They have to destroy the brain either with a bullet or a knife, right? Pretty much.
Yeah.
Club, bullet, anything, like you can sever the head, like.
Right.
But the brain's got to basically be destroyed.
Yes.
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 That's why when you would hear zombies say brains, that's just to fuel them. That's their fuel. If they don't have that, then they die.
That's Return of the Living Dead, which is a different franchise.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes me think of Spock's brain in Star Trek. It's like brain. What is brain? I'm so glad they didn't turn that into a zombie episode.
I'm glad they didn't either.
That would have been too weird.
Well, Spock was kind of like a zombie, I guess, without his brain.
No, he was. Because, McCoy had to, control him remotely, right? That was a weird episode, man.
Yes.
Oh, you're breaking up there, Mikey.
But Nimoy nailed it. I mean,
Nimoy always nails everything.
Yeah, Mikey, you're breaking up. We can't hear you. So here we have the next day. The sun has risen.
Right? Like, the survivors have made it through. Nature doesn't care.
There's a lot of people in that room.
We're all checking out the house.
Yeah.
It's nice in here.
Nice house, but I wouldn't want to go there.
Yeah.
And here basically comes the cavalry, as we're assuming it to be right now.
Yeah.
Now it's more like a turkey shoot.
Yeah.
They're like enjoying themselves with like a turkey shoot.
Which is,
Wasn't there a line in there? Yeah, wasn't there a line in there? It was set off screen where it said, "Come on, Jeb, let's go get them, dead people." Yeah, something like that. I remember that.
Yeah, they are. They're all, it's a bunch of rednecks. They're all excited. Which reminds me, I'm going to cover another series of movies that I haven't mentioned that I'm going to be covering on our stream is the Hatchet series.
Oh wow, that's a good one. Yeah, that's a good one, Pop.
I just want to suggest a couple. I wish we'd do some John Carpenter and some Roger Corman films eventually, Pop.
Oh, absolutely. I definitely intend on it.
Yeah, because they got so many good movies between the two of them, right?
Oh, yes.
Well, that's
what's fantastic. This is Horror Stream number 23, and we've got so many good ones yet to go. It's wonderful.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, one of my favorite John Carpenter movies, I hope you do, Pop, is Vampires. It's a great
no. Sorry. I'm only going to do the good John Carpenter movies.
Oh,
just look at the box office. Yeah, sorry.
Okay, how about The Fog? The Fog is good.
Yes. I'm talking about his later movies, Ghost of Mars or whatever. and that
The
crowd.
Thing. Come on, we're watching The Thing at some point. We have to.
Oh yeah, we
I'd,
have to do The Thing.
I'd totally
yes.
be into watching The Thing. The Thing is fantastic.
Kurt Russell, yeah, 82.
Yeah, to be
I'd like-
specific, I would say he stopped making good movies right around the time he made Mouth of Madness. That was about the last good one in the Mouth of Madness.
I'd really like to
Okay.
do Escape from New York too, because I just really think that's a great film.
It is. And
Yeah,
this, they've been trying to remake it. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope they
Oh
don't.
God, no! Please don't! Please
no,
don't!
no, please don't. Yeah,
Kurt
no.
Russell as Snake Plissken. That's my favorite Kurt Russell performance. I gotta say, guys, I just think Kurt is just perfection in that movie. He just nails every scene he's in, and I guess it helps that it's got a great script and great dialogue, so that doesn't hurt, right? But man, he's got an intensity in that film that I just really love.
Everything he does. If this wasn't a comedy stream, or if it was, I would do Used Cars. He never failed at any movie he ever
Yeah,
did.
Cars
Kurt
is
Russell was
good.
always a standout.
He's
Used
a quality
Cars.
actor.
Used Cars.
Yeah.
Not Cars.
Quality actor.
Well, he was even good. Did you, Pop? Did you see him in one of the Guardians of the Galaxy films where he played?
Yeah,
Ego?
I saw the second one. But I'm not a big fan of those. But I
So
know there are big fans out
we're
there.
missing a important scene here. This is.
Uh-oh.
We probably shouldn't skip past this part, Pop.
Yeah, I'm trying not to.
So I can go to bed.
Yeah, we're just about done anyway, so that's good.
The next day, of course, all the zombies are gone, and he finally leaves the cellar.
Right.
All that chopping of the
Yeah.
wood, and they left the piano intact.
Yeah.
This scene really pissed me off when I saw it for the first time.
Yes.
Really pissed me off.
Why?
Because they kill the hero.
Right?
Yeah.
He's just checking, looking through. Like, they don't know that he's not a zombie. He's just like, all right,
Yeah.
Vance, hit him in the head. Boom!
Yeah, you would think, wouldn't they go, hey, dude, are you alive? And he would go, yeah, I'm fucking alive. And they go, okay, we won't kill you then. Right? Like, these guys really are dumb rednecks. But I think Romero was making a point about racism with this scene. Do you guys?
No, he wasn't.
No.
You don't think so?
No, they
It's
specifically talked about it. It was.
You're right. He strictly hired the guy because he was a good actor.
Yeah.
And even the shot here, PvP, that you're talking about, of like they shoot the black guy at the end. No, that's not what it was about. They even, I believe, the actor himself, God damn it, Duane
Johnson.
yeah, there was something about. There was contention with this scene. Like, it was not supposed to be about race relations.
It could be interpreted that way.
Dwayne
that
Jones.
way, though, guys. Don't you think it could be interpreted that way? I mean, maybe.
Well, I mean, it can be interpreted however you want to interpret it.
Yeah, but I'm thinking maybe it wasn't intentional. But I bet there were. I wouldn't be surprised if there were a lot of black folks that saw this movie back in '68 that did possibly interpret it that way. Just guessing, you know. I'm just putting it out there. I'm just putting out a theory, right? It's probably wrong, but I just want to. I always like to expand on.
No, it's very possible. It's very possible that people have different interpretations, but what we're just talking about, as far as George Romero's interpretation, it was not intentional.
Yeah,
it was not intentional.
Oh,
okay,
by
that's
the way,
cool.
Yeah.
I just
by
wanted
the way,
to bring
Pop,
it up.
I found out just now. Yeah, by the way, I just found out just now, and I pointed out to my wife Suzanne that Charles Craig, that's one of her relatives that lived down there in the Pittsburgh area. Because that's my wife's last name, used to be Sue Craig. Yeah, so she has a relative in this film, which is actually pretty cool. I like
Wow.
That. Yeah.
Can you tell us, was the relative a zombie or?
Yeah, he was one of the zombies. Yeah.
One of the zombies. Okay, so we won't.
He was a zombie.
We won't be able to pick him out then.
Yeah.
All right, Gorilla.
Awesome.
Gorilla, tell us what you think about the movie and tell us about your channel.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good to listen to. It's a nice steady pace, even though the camera was a little shaky and I'm not a fan of Dutch angles. But I will not hold that against the movie. Everybody has their own artistic art style, and it's a little budget, so they probably couldn't afford a good tripod on a good roller or
They had a
something.
tripod. Those scenes were, believe me, those scenes were artistic. They weren't done because they couldn't afford a tripod. They had
No,
tripods.
I said I one that's a steady roller, like when they're backing up.
A dolly.
No, Steadicam had not been invented yet, and no, they didn't have a dolly.
Yeah,
Or
so
traps.
that
They didn't have a budget for
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so that's why I'm not holding it against it. And that it's pretty well
Gotcha.
paced, And finally, we get I get to see a film where everybody, people survive at the end. Nope, cavalry showed up right at the end there, and there's one guy left. Oh, one guy left. Boom! Right in the head.
Right between the eyes.
Yeah, where the heroes don't survive, or there's not that couple that survives at the end and walks out, and they're just
like every
fine.
movie now, right? Where you got to have a predictable ending, happy ending. Especially the American.
I've never
movies.
seen a film where all the heroes die or everybody dies. Then they show up.
Well, we'll be covering The Mist one of these days, and I'll try not to give away too much.
Yeah. Oh, I'm excited for that.
So,
Fuck. Yeah. Anyways,
I'll give this one B plus. I'll give this one B plus.
Very
That's
cool.
a good rating.
Tell us about your channel, Gorilla. I know it's late.
Yeah, and then after this, I'll cover the chats real quick, and then I'm off to bed. Then I'll just put this on and listen to your guys' reviews because
I appreciate that, sir. I appreciate your loyalty.
So I'm gonna try to do shorts. I keep saying this. I'm gonna try to do shorts. I'll get to around to it more. I think I got a couple craft sodas. I got a bunch of craft beers. I'll do some shorts on. But otherwise, I do 3 watch parties a week. Justified on Wednesdays, Babylon 5 on Saturdays, and then on Sundays we are starting our Robin Williams month there, and we're starting with the Dead Poet Society. Then on Fridays I do Walter reviews. Then I got a new segment I'm going to do once or twice a month there. I got coordinated with Gap for our next one for Frankenhooker there for a watch party there. And that's pretty much it. And anyhow,
Thank you, Gorilla. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and Scurvy here said 3 chillers for Gorilla.
Hip hip hooray!
Yeah. And Sean says hello to Jill. Sean says Scurvy, and he's giving him the drunken salute. It looks like for the. I think that's a drunken salute. I can't quite tell, but then Scurvy says hi, Sean Carter. So all right, we'll see,
Mikey,
guys.
good night, Gorilla. Thank you for your help. I'll see you tomorrow for Gilligan's Island.
Yep, see ya.
See you, Gorilla.
Mikey, tell us what you think about this movie.
Good night, Gorilla.
Well, like I said, Pop, before, this is a true horror cult classic. One of the best zombie movies, actually, in the late 60s, early 70s, if you want to compare it to other zombie flicks. And Romero is a genius. He has been called the grandfather of the zombie genre, and rightfully so. Also, I found out a quick fact that on Maximum Overdrive, George Romero actually helped out Stephen King when he wasn't doing so well because he was the director and helped him with the sadistic trucks and everything. So that's just an FYI.
Or you mean because he was busy snorting pounds of cocaine?
Exactly. That's what my mind just said. I didn't want to say that word, but thank you for telling me, Bob. Yes, that's true. Yeah, I gave it an A to A minus because it's one of the greatest cult classics. I enjoy it. It's even though it's black and white, which sometimes I have a difficulty with, I still loved it because it is evenly paced and yes, it's very sad when Duane Jones' character gets killed at the end. It's kind of a afterthought, to most of the rescuers, trying to figure out what happened. So yeah, that's kind of disappointing. But other than that, yes, I gave it an A. I loved it. I always have, and we bought it. We bought the film. So
cool.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
Very cool.
And then and it's great for Halloween. If you want to come to an introductory zombie film, absolutely play this one on Halloween night because it's definitely one of the best.
Yep.
As for my channel, I run I don't run zombies. I have a topic time which I run Friday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern. It's all random topics and random subjects that go on throughout the world. So anybody can come on by, have open panel by all means. We talk about everything. Also, I just started doing some webcam videos, reviews on Charlie's Angels series. So I'm doing that Mondays and Wednesdays in the afternoon, usually about 3:30 and about 3:30 Eastern time on Mondays and Wednesdays. And I don't try to spoil it because I know most people probably have never heard of Charlie's Angels, never seen the episodes, but they are available on YouTube. And what's so great is I can give a brief review of the episode without spoiling it. I can tell you the main guest stars that appear because they had a lot of guest stars in those episodes and that appear in the episode, and also a little bit of history of the show itself. So check those out on Mondays and Wednesdays when I do a webcam.
All right. Thank you, Mikey.
Oh, you're welcome.
Okay, next, Nemesis of Eden. What say you? What do you think about this movie?
Oh, I think this was a solid movie, right? It's a cultural phenomenon. Luckily for us, the mistake with the original name of the movie being changed a few times and them not putting the copyright on it has allowed it to slip into the public domain, which has made it easily one of the most accessible zombie movies out there, right? Like, I don't think you'll find hundreds of varying qualities of like the quality of the movie, but like its influence is undeniable. The camera angles were really good, unique. The shading, the lighting, the gore effects were shocking for the time. The little girl killing her mom was awesome. And once again, shocking for the time. I will say there was a lot of exposition between the characters, but it's okay. It still flowed really well for the most part. The characters themselves, the actors were great. All of them around were all pretty solid. Of course, my least favorite would probably be Barbara, but like, whatever. Like, I understand how her character was, and there's certainly worse characters that I've had to deal with in horror movies just in general. So I'll give it a solid A-. Like,
nice.
Yeah, its cultural impact can't be denied.
Absolutely. And tell us about your channel. You've got some good videos that you posted recently.
Yeah, that was so I just uploaded a bunch of vintage cars. That was kind of out of the blue and not planned, but as of late I've got a video capture card and just got to figure out getting all that stuff done. So probably be doing more old school uploads in the future. Usually most of them probably aren't going to have any commentary unless I can figure out how to do a Streamlabs and a screen cap all at the same time. That's all new to me. So I'm sure it can be done. I just need to figure out how to do it.
Well, if there's anything I can do to help you, let me know.
No, I appreciate it, Pop. I do. Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you for helping me out tonight.
Oh, of course. Always. I love being here.
Likewise. All right. I guess it's my turn. And without trying to repeat what I've said earlier and throughout the movie, I'm going to give it a solid A+ because of the inspiration and what it did for all of us. And because, like I said earlier, it's tragic that George Romero didn't really get the acclaim that he deserved. The money or the acclaim or the fame. And as Nemesis mentioned, the fact that they got a bunch of unknown non-actors who did such a fantastic, outstanding performance, and what they did on such a limited budget and on a limited amount of time. I just don't think it's possible anymore. I just don't see any creativity in Hollywood that could replicate something like this. I think maybe Sam Raimi was one of the last ones, which is sad. It's a lost art now. They've all got to have multi-million dollars and a bunch of CGI. And this is another shout out that, and I would sorely miss these days is practical effects, especially when it comes to gore. They seem to be very lazy now. Even blood splatter now is all CGI, and it looks obviously so. And try not to repeat what everybody else, because everybody else has already said everything. The influence, it was shocking for the time. People were not used to seeing this. Audiences were not used to seeing this. The next big horror movie to hit audiences after this was The Exorcist, which we will be covering in our future stream as well. Another movie that shocked audiences that they were not prepared for. And like I said, I mean, as soon as I saw this at the drive-in, I wanted to see it. But my dad, I don't know, he was squeamish. He had a weak stomach, so he couldn't handle somebody with a cut finger, and it was too bad. Because I did not want to see Beauty. Yeah, I did not want to see Lady and the Tramp. I wanted to see Night of the
that's hilarious, Bob.
So yeah, and go ahead.
No, go ahead, Pop.
No, I was just gonna say tomorrow catch Gorilla Random Thoughts and myself for our Gilligan's Island stream, and then we'll be back next Monday where we'll continue our coverage of Lost in Space, the original series. We're still on season 1, and we've got a fantastic episode coming up, War of the Robots. And I will be posting a poll again in a day or so of what movie we'll be covering for our next horror/sci-fi stream.
Can I give my review at some point?
No. Yes, of course.
Because I think somehow you missed me, Bob.
No, I didn't. Sometimes I go counterclockwise, and sometimes I go clockwise.
Okay,
I try to change it up, and this time I went counterclockwise.
I just see the last part of The Living Dead with the dead guy's face on here, so I'm not seeing any of our avatars, so maybe I'm confused.
It's okay.
Yeah, our avatars are there.
Yeah.
Not on my screen.
Without your review. Go ahead, PvP.
Maybe I'm on YouTube. Okay, I'm good now. Well, I'll give this one a solid A. I always reserve a little bit of a cushion for A+, because, there are films I probably love, more than this one. But as far as zombie films go, this is pretty much the first one, The Instigator, the original, the one that kind of created it all for any directors, writers, whoever that wanted to follow, with the zombie genre, so to speak. So I think it's an amazing film. The fact that they produced it on a tiny, tiny budget is a tribute to everybody involved. It's really good. The writing is great. The story is good. The characters are great. The zombies are cool. There's really nothing that I can fault with this film. It's pretty much a perfectly entertaining film, in the zombie genre, in the horror genre. So, yeah, I'll give it an A. It's a good one. It's a keystone. It's a keystone horror film. It's one of those horror films. If I had a list 10, 20, 30 horror films that you should watch if you're a horror fan, this would probably be one of those. And yeah, that's basically sums it up. I think it's a great film. I think it's a classic. And I'll just quickly mention my channel. I'm still doing my music stuff, and
Nice.
I haven't been doing as much lately because I got a lot of other crap going on. So it might be a while before I update or upload anything new. But yeah, that's pretty much it. This is a great film, though, and I've always loved this film from the first time I saw it, like 30 years ago or whenever, 40 years ago, whatever it has been. And it's just a really good film. And I just wish that directors, were out there that were creative enough to remember how to take a minuscule budget, and work with it with good writing, write something really of quality and work with it to make a really memorable film, because we're still talking about this thing. Yeah, even though it's from like 1968, right? So that itself says a lot about the quality of this film that we're talking about it all these decades later. So,
Yep.
Yeah, I think I guess I pretty much said it all. So I guess I'm good, guys. Anyway, that's about it.
I appreciate it. Thank you, PvP.
You're very welcome, Bob. You're welcome now.
And
I was going to say
remember,
this movie definitely set the bar, and I highly recommend it to anyone who's never seen a zombie film in their life. See this one first, because it's absolutely sets the bar very high for future films.
Agree, Mikey.
Yep.
It's a great film.
And I want to remind everybody there's a poll in the chat. I hope you get a chance to vote. I'm going to go ahead and close the poll and share the results with everybody.
Okay. I think it got a pretty high rating. I gave it an A rating, so hopefully other people did.
Yeah, and since I own it, I gave it a solid A when I first came in. So thank you, Pop, for allowing me to be a part of your panel tonight.
No, it looks like it got a really good rating. All A's and B's. That's nice.
Yes.
Hold on, let me close.
Okay.
Come on, now's not the time for my computer to start acting funny.
Uh-oh.
Let's hope it's not aliens up there.
I hate that when that happens. It looks like it's all mostly A's and a few B's are actually Pop, so it's pretty high ratings. It looks like tonight.
There we go. Well, the thing is, the chat is coming up blank white instead of showing. There it is. There was a delay. It was showing just a blank white screen instead of the poll. So now I'm going to share again. Now that it is working, there was just a delay for some reason.
Okay.
And here we are. And it looks like we got 21 votes, which was a great turnout. I'm really happy. And we got as A plus to A minus got a 71%. B plus to B minus got 28. And it looks like 0 from C plus to F minus, which makes me very happy. It looks like the majority of people enjoyed this, which is excellent.
Yeah, it's definitely a classic.
It seems most folks really think this is a really good film.
I'm glad. I'm glad everybody appreciated it, and I hope everyone had a good time.
And, it was great fun.
We had a great time. We always
have a great time hanging out with you, man.
Oh yeah,
it's never a disappointment. I'm excited. It'll be interesting to see what we do next week. And honestly, I never know what I'm going to do from week to week. I always wait for an inspiration to kick in.
Well, that
so last week I didn't even think about Night of the Living Dead at all. I just wait for it to kick in when I least expect it. But I want to really thank most of all everybody in the chat for spending time with us tonight and for coming along and visiting, and for bearing with us if you're still here. I know it was kind of a long stream, but sometimes when we find something we love,
Pop, is that this movie is 55 years old.
Yeah.
Oh, did we lose Mikey's?
We lost Mikey. Yeah, thanks to everyone who showed up today in the chat.
Yeah, I apologize, guys.
Everyone.
I'm here. No, I'm okay. Thank you, everyone. Yeah. No, you didn't lose me. I was just waiting for my.
No, but I was trying to thank everybody in the chat until I was interrupted. Get it? Thank you, guys, and everybody on the panel. Have a great night. All right, I appreciate it. Take care, everybody. Drive safe tomorrow.
Yeah, have a good evening, everybody, and